I'll tell you a tale of a lad of 20, a terror-born boy with coin aplenty, looking for love and more's a pity. Now he's lost in the hills of Tanchico City. One's not enough and three is too many, and two bring a man to his steez. Hey! Hills of Tanchico. The hills of Tanchico. This is what's happening.
Pretty darn good.
Okay, I feel like we have to go right to my drink because that's what you did. These are the Hills of Tanchico.
This is why you were getting drunk on them last night.
That is why I was getting drunk testing it out last night, yes.
Oh, amazing. Well, yeah, welcome everyone to Three Wheeling. But apparently, hey Jen, it's do you know what time it is straight away?
Yes, I do know what time it is straight away.
It's time to ask
ask
what's
Meg
drinking?
Meg is drinking the Hills of Tanchico. So I was like, okay, it's got to be Tanchico themed, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Everybody got pretty turned up. So I basically decided to do a play on a Long Island. I basically didn't put tequila in it because I did try it with tequila and I didn't like it as much. And then instead of Coke, I did my favorite refreshing beverage, High Noon. So it's even more turned up. And as I'm talking about turned up, I got my 5-year-old on my lap. But
Yay.
I'm 5.
Okay.
You are 5.
5. Okay. Anyway.
Special guest this week, everybody.
Avienda.
Yes. So this is my inspiration. So again, banger of a song, and all the good times had in Tanchico made me think that we needed a strong cocktail, strong enough to get Elayne drunk, Min to awkwardly shimmy, and Nynaeve to laugh and smile. Be warned, this is strong. I didn't even finish the one last night because I fell asleep. So this is the recipe: in a stemless wine glass with ice, pour 3/4 of an ounce of vodka, 3/4 of an ounce of gin, 3/4 of an ounce of white rum, 3/4 of an ounce of triple sec, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon syrup or lemon juice, 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup, and then top with your choice of High Noon. I used peach, about half of a can, and then I was like, peach kind of because you're going with like a Long Island, like tea. And I was like, ooh, peach. Tanchico's really like a bad place. And maybe people are trying to poison people with peaches since peaches are poisonous in the Wheel of Time. So that's the inspiration. Cheers.
Cheers. I do not have anything like that, but I do have something new to try this week.
Ooh.
Mostly because they still can't stock the cider and they don't have the stout that I was buying. So this is called Candy Kittens. It's an Eton Mess New England IPA.
Fitting after last week's episode was called Cats and Cucumbers.
Cats and Cucumbers. This is true. So it's I'm gonna see what it's like. I'm not normally an IPA fan, so but the Eton Mess part sort of teased me in. So I was like, all right, here's your ASMR.
Nice.
And we're gonna find out if this is any good. Yeah, it's not bad. That's
All right, maybe it's an IPA I will drink because I don't drink IPAs either.
Yeah, Troy doesn't like IPAs either.
Yeah, the Eton Mess-ness takes off the edge of the IPA-ness. So yeah,
that's good.
It's a acceptable beverage. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. We'll let the listeners decide.
Oh, and Jen, you have to explain why I made 2.
Oh yeah, okay. Because this was my and I can't take credit for this theory. I saw it on, and I apologize because I do not know who saw it, and I couldn't go or who posted this, and I couldn't go back and I couldn't find it again. But somebody pointed out that the lyrics to the song are extra Jordan, because Jordan always talked about how people were singing a song in a tavern and it had different lyrics in a different region, and nobody knew what the lyrics originally came from. So once Matt started getting his memories back, he was like, "Oh, that song used to mean something completely different." This song, the lyrics are like one for one about the bracelets. One's not enough, and three is too many, but two bring a man to his knees. This was the song that was originally about the gentleman of Tanchico, or whatever the guy's name is, who's
The
Right,
shackled
yeah.
man.
the shackled,
The shackled man.
Yeah. The song is about the shackled man.
Rami Park, you bloody genius.
And yes, and all kudos and credit to Rami, because this episode also was a banger. But I did read that Sarah Nakamura said that the writers' room actually just had the best time coming up with the lyrics for this song, like as a team, which is like, that is the best of a writer's room. It's so fun.
Yes.
Like, I was just writing something for the show that I'm on, and I was like, this is the moment that I need a writer's room for, and we don't have a room really anymore, and like most people have rolled off, and so it's like, that's the fun of a writer's room, is when you're like, you guys, we have to come up with a body song. Apparently Sarah Nakamura told them they needed a body song. She was
Body
like,
song.
body, like BAWDY, and they were like, what's a body song? Like BODY. They're like, what are you talking about? What's a body song?
Yes.
And she was like, no, body, but now it is a body song. I mean, I was crying as I was watching it, and I
It
was
so
like,
fun.
I also was like, as I watched the song the first time, I was like, I was slow on the uptake. I was like, Hills of Tanchico, because I'm like, there's 3 peninsulas, but I guess there's hills, and I was like, the Hills of Tanchico, that's funny. And then I was like, why is everybody grabbing their boobs? And then yeah, and then I kind of got and then I got to it, and I was like enjoying the rest of the song. So I think it took me through most of the first verse, but then when I listened to it in the credits at the end, I'd missed the line the first time, one's not enough and three is too many, and then I just was like, no. David and I busted out during the credits because we both missed that line at the first.
Well, and that's why you said I had to make 2, and then I was like, stemless wine glasses kind of look like boobies.
This
So-
is true. Yes.
I don't know if I'll be drinking both, but that would be bad.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think I realized it was like the main theme of the song, or the most obvious theme of the song, now that we've obviously got that other theory. I think I've realized it at a very similar time to Kira realizing it, but I was so sort of surprised by the meaning of the song that I didn't pay attention to Kira realizing it, that she was like, oh, the song's about boobs.
Yeah.
So on the rewatch is when I noticed, I'm like, oh, that's when Elayne also realizes what the song's actually about, and now Tom's reaction to be like, the Hills of Tanchico, and she's
Right. And then Tom looking at her like, yes,
yes,
that is your job up here.
I like this is a prequel to us seeing her start to be like, ooh, all these fun naughty things. I'm going to learn bad words and all this stuff. Like, there's so much hidden meaning to everything.
Yeah.
And Matt's reaction to it too. Like, I didn't catch that until second watch. Like,
when he turns to his side and looks at the person next to him. Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay. We're just going to embrace it. In that case, everyone's embracing it. Fair enough,
So good. It's so good. I've been singing all week. My 15-year-old who watched it with us live, because he had missed last week's, and so we had to, like, he actually came home from school sick on Thursday, and I was like, cool, we have an hour to watch Wheel of Time before your dad gets home from work, because then you have to watch the next episode you haven't seen last week. So he watched it with us live, and he got quite a kick out of it. But the next morning, as we were driving to school, I was like, I'm going to play Hills of Tanchico as loud as possible to put the top down on the car and roll the windows down. And he was like, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Like, as I drop him off at school.
Mom, you can't play a song about boobs when you drop me off at school at 15. No.
But I did. I was like, well, you're going to still have to learn all the lyrics. So that's how it's going.
I love how everyone's like, this is immediately going to be a banger at conventions and such.
Oh, I was like, everybody's going to sing it, because also if you listen to it on the soundtrack, and it's the second verse that they're singing when Nynaeve and Min come in, but it's a follow along verse. It's a follow along section. So Elayne sings the first line, and then the audience sings the line back to her. So I'm like,
Oh yeah, this will be Takaran Riyadh. sing
Yeah.
along.
This will have to be what they finish the sing along with.
For
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Without question. Without question.
Well, no, I would say we could do it twice, start and finish. I think it'll get the party going, and then we can finish with it too. I think
it's nice and short.
Well, 2 is perfect because 1 is too little and 3 is too many. So you got to do it twice.
That's true. Jen Isgro, if you're listening, here we go.
There we go. So, thanks to my choice of intro, we've immediately jumped into what Meg is drinking and a little insert of the episode. But before we dive too much into that, how are you two doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Good now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, should we say anything about the fact that I know the recording will come out after the fact, but tomorrow is Megan's birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Meg.
Happy
Thanks.
birthday.
Happy
name
birthday,
day,
little sissy.
twinsy.
I wanted to wear a black veil. To,
We didn't even coordinate. We didn't even talk about it. I'm wearing my G-shirt. You're wearing your toe
Oh,
shirt.
I'm wearing my toe shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Rand has so much toe. That's why I'm wearing my toe shirt.
He does have a lot of toe. He does have a lot of toe.
Today is the last day of Meg's 20s. Bless her.
Yes, my 20s. Yes. That's it.
Today, tomorrow, the 9 becomes a 0.
Yes.
Yeah. And
That's okay. We can say it. I'll be 40.
40's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
50's fucking better. I'm just going to say that.
Well, my students made me feel really good because my admin came in to bring me a little treat. And then I said to my admin, I'm like, do you know which one this is? And they're like, no. And I'm like, 40. And then my students were like, what? And then I was like, how old did you think I was? They were like, 28. I'm like, oh, you guys.
I mean, honestly, when you said we were the same age, I was like, no.
I don't hear anybody saying, Jen, you're 50?
Yes, Jen, you're 50? What?
I'm pretty sure I did that when you first told me.
Maybe, but I don't know if you do know. I think we've told you this story, Rob. Our first trip to WatCon, Mom and Megan and I, and someone came up to us. And you know what? If you're listening,
I don't remember who it was.
Oh, do?
I remember who it was.
Oh, you do?
Should I call him out?
Was it 3 generations or something they said?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He said,
do you want me to call out who it was?
In a second, as soon as I say it, yeah.
Okay.
He said, "Aw, is this 3 generations of Watt lovers?" And I was like, no, it's not. This is the mom, and we're the sisters. Now, granted, we're 13 years apart, so, there's that.
And my skin is the skin of an Aes Sedai.
So is mine.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Just stop talking and tell us who it was. Just stop talking and tell us who it was.
I'm pretty sure it was Wolf Brother.
Was it?
Oh my god, I think you're right. I think it
was Wolf Brother.
For some reason, it felt like something that Tavern would say.
Tavern got clued in quickly. He was the first person we met at WalkOn, so I think we introduced ourselves as sisters and a mom.
Yeah.
Oh, and we were wearing. Were we wearing our Gia shirts that day? No, you were wearing your Aes Sedai one, I think.
I don't remember. Oh yeah.
We were both wearing Tavern shirts though.
Yeah. Oh, and it's someone else's well, it's not my birthday today, but it's someone's birthday today.
Yes, it is.
It's Nils.
Oh, it is Nils' birthday.
Happy birthday, Nils! I don't think he's on, but happy birthday,
birthday
Nils.
buddies, Nils.
You are birthday. Well, yeah. Next neighbor buddies. Birthday.
Mom is
neighbors.
in chat, and she says, "Happy
Hi,
0
Mom.
birthday, Meg."
So, are you going to do anything fun tonight or tomorrow, Meg?
Going out with my girlfriends tonight, and then going to brunch with either one or both of them tomorrow morning, and then going over to Mom and Dad's house and celebrating. So
Nice.
that's it. Yeah,
Love that. I'm so glad that the "how are you two doing" thing did make its way to the birthday mention, because I was like, I don't know if I've really clued into this just yet. So, but yeah, all right, Meg, our little social sleuthy champion. Anything exciting this week on the socials that we should talk about?
I felt like I screenshotted something last night, but after 3/4 of a Hill of Tanchico. I don't remember what it was.
After climbing that hill.
Yeah, you'd climbed one hill of Tanchico, so you were.
That one. No. Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening. Was Shaq on the Dusty Wheel, or was there something with Shaq?
Yes.
So they had. 1 second. So their guests on Wednesday were Dr. S and someone.
And
And
Tori.
Tori.
Dr.
Dr.
S and
S.
Tori. They run a YouTube channel together. I believe. Show only watchers. The innkeeper invited them on, and apparently, is it Dr. S's husband?
I thought it was Tori's husband. Maybe it's
Tori's
Dr. S's
husband. There we
I think
go.
it's Tori's husband.
Tori's husband works for Shaq.
Oh.
And I think Tori's husband was with Shaq at the time and was like, "Hey, we need to put on this show. My wife's on it." And so Shaq logged into chat and we just like and chatted.
And then Matt, Matt just like pulled up, the way he pulls up, people are saying things, and I don't even remember what the context of it was because I hadn't seen it yet. I didn't see it live. And so he just like threw a chat up on screen and it was Shaq and it's a picture of Shaq and it says Shaq and it says, they're just fine or something like that. Or they're the best. You're the best. They're the best. Something like that. And, and so Matt was like, so-and-so says this and Shaq says they're the best. And then if it's Tori, apologies if I don't know if it's Tori or Dr. S because I didn't watch it yet and I always forget who's who. But whoever it was said, actually, that is actually Shaq because my husband works for him and they're actually watching right now. And Matt was like, Shaq, like the Shaq, It's great.
Sir
It's really
Shaq?
great. Sir Shaq. It was pretty awesome. It was really
I
funny.
did hear, I'm scrolling through, because I, again, didn't watch and I've learned this through mod comments. So some of these things are hilarious. Just clips and things being put in, like Celtic Mist put in, it's T-Dog, that's what Shaq said, And it's like, oh, okay. But I was like, well, that was not what I expected to find when I checked Discord this morning over the coffee.
Right.
But someone said Shaq basically he loves watching different TV shows and such, and so like now that he's seen this, he's gonna go and watch a show and probably rave about it. So which was really cute. I can't actually find the comment I'm looking for, but yes, it was good fun. From what I've seen from the mod reactions, they were all just like, "What?"
Yeah, like me. Yeah.
I have a friend who worked with Shaq and said that she had met him. I think the first, like, she'd been working with him like remotely. She was the first time we met. They went in to pitch something and she met him in person. Like he met them at the elevator at like Netflix or whatever and something. And she was like, so she was in the elevator and the elevator doors opened and Shaq was standing in front of the elevators and she was just like, you just can't wrap your head around how large
big
this
he is.
man is. She was like, she's a tall woman. Like I think she's 5'9", and she was just like he just keeps going. She's just like, he's so huge.
Well,
he's
and he's
so
just
tall.
like wide.
And he's just
too.
wide,
Like
Yes.
he's just
He's a mountain. He's a mountain.
Yeah.
She was like, it was amazing.
I would be afraid to get on an elevator with him, to be honest.
Right. No, it'd be great because if it breaks down, he can just literally lift up and like reach up and like lift out the panels to like climb
Yes.
out.
That's true.
This is
or
very, very
or
true.
wrench the doors open or whatever.
Yeah.
That's who you want to be stuck in the elevator with. Anyway, it's so funny. It's so great. Congrats to Matt. That's awesome. Maybe
It
he's
is,
listening
yeah.
now. Shaq, are you out there? Are you
Shaq,
listening? Live
please
to the
comment if
podcast.
you're listening.
Shaq's definitely a patron.
My God, can you imagine if Shaq was a patron? You're like, oh, new patron this week. Shaq? Okay. We did get I did get another new patron. Speaking of that, so that's a nice little segue there. I can never remember what their name on YouTube is, but I do know their Discord name. So please welcome TB80 as a patron.
Welcome
who was
to
Hello,
TB80.
TB80.
TB80, who was hoping to listen along with us live. So I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be here, but we'll find out. So
Thank you for your patronage.
Thank you for your patronage. And speaking of hitting numbers and
Yes.
such,
We need
Rob?
to celebrate.
2,000 followers.
yeah, I'm
Congrats.
yeah. So I didn't expect it during the season drop. Like in season 2, I picked up more numbers on YouTube, and I was like, oh, this is really cool because I was in like the 1400s on YouTube, and I got to like somewhere in the 1600s, and it was really sweet. And I was like, oh, all these people, this is nice, it's lovely. The support, it always means the world. And I've been there ever since season 2, basically. And so I was just like, maybe I can get to like 17 or 1800 in season 3. That would be pretty amazing. And then like the shredding came out, and people just kept flocking to the channel, basically, at least in terms of what I normally get in terms of subscribers and such. And literally as of this morning when we were recording, I woke up and the number, it was 1999 when I went to bed, and when I woke up it said 2000. So yeah, thank you to everyone who do that. Apparently through Fault Talk, the girls were like, we need to celebrate this as well, and I was like, okay, I feel, I always feel silly being like, I hit 2000, but it's really nice.
It's exciting.
It's huge. It's huge. It's great. I actually went online last night when you said it was 1999, and I told David last week when you were at 1899. In my head, I was thinking that was going to roll over to 2000 for some reason, and so I ran downstairs and made Zach subscribe.
Right.
But he was your 1903, and then last night I ran into David and I was like, "Here, just push this button." And then I was like, "Oh, you already subscribed. Never mind," because he was already in there.
Well, I appreciate everyone who's done that. So yeah, it's really nice to finally be there. They do say the second 1,000 is the hardest. So.
There you go.
Who knows?
It's all uphill from here, downhill from here, something like that.
Downhill. It's all. There are hills somewhere. I don't know.
There are hills in Tanchico.
There are.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Oh my god! I'm just obsessed. I'm obsessed with the song. I love the episode so much. Rami Park is my hero. She's just knocking it out of the park. Sorry, I did not. That was an unintentional pun.
Don't apologize for that. It's great.
That was great.
It was such a good episode. Here's the thing. I wasn't worried, but episode 4 was so much. It was so intense, and it also it just gave us so much from the show, and it was so fan wonderful, as well as just storytelling wonderful, and one of my favorite aspects of the
and just
books.
Cinematically beautiful too,
and cinematically
insane.
And so I was just like, well, expect a little bit of a breather and a lull, but I hope we don't peak out and people are going to be like, yeah, the rest of the season just couldn't hold up to that. I mean, not that I didn't have faith in the team. Of course I do. I was just worried, and I'm always worried about
perception.
Yeah, no, what perception is like. I thought the next episode was absolutely brilliant. Is appropriately not relaxing, but slower, so that we could breathe a little, which it needed to be, and yet still very intense. Loved the discovery and learning more about Tel'aran'rhiod, and then I was like, okay, well now we've had 2 episodes that are deep in the magic lore. So what are they going to do in this one? We're just going to Tanchico, and it was divine. It was divine.
I gotta say, I think is my favorite episode.
I believe it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
It is, in terms of the season so far, it's the second highest rated episode on IMDb of the season. It sits, I think, third in rankings full stop for Wheel of Time. Yeah, you've got episode 304, which is 9.4, episode 208, which is 8.9, and then this sits at 8.8.
It's great.
So
that's great. I just realized I haven't rated this one in particular yet, so it'll go up when I rate it today.
Hopefully so. But yeah, and I looked yesterday, and all 6 episodes of season 3 fill out the top 9 of all Wheel of Time episodes ratings on IMDb. Yeah. So
yeah.
It's a banger of a season.
It is. Laura just said love Tom. I said love Tom. Mom said me too. And I've been waiting. Laura just says I've been waiting to see how they brought him back into the show, and
it was great.
It was great, and there were rumors and there were theories of maybe he'd show up in Tanchico, and then of course we saw the guitar behind Megan thinks it's Jewel, and it's not
behind Asmodean.
He has a name.
We haven't decided. It's not confirmed anything yet.
Do you know
his name?
His name in the credits is Matt's Admirer.
Yeah.
So
I was looking for him
probably
in
not Julian, but I don't think he's Asmodean.
I don't think he's Asmodean either. I think he's just Matt's admirer. I think he's good guy with a dad who works at the docks.
I reckon we don't find out this season, which is going to be really annoying because I've bet 4 people that it's Asmodean by this stage. So.
But I was so delighted to get Tom back. But this was the reunion episode for me because guess who was in the cold open?
Oh, is she?
And
okay, so I highlighted this, and I was like, why do I miss Ishi when I saw him? I was like, what?
My heart just swelled when I saw him. I had forgotten that we were expecting to get Tom back in this one, and so I was not thinking about that, and I wasn't expecting Ishi. at all. Like, just was not expecting that. And
Yeah.
so my
And
my
it totally
heart,
makes sense.
my
Yeah.
heart grew 2 sizes. It did. I love him so much.
Well, and it's just like everybody was being such a jerk to her and nobody was helping her. And then he shows up. I'm like, thank God he came to help her, but he's helping her down a very bad path. And I don't know how to feel right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
But it was reminiscent of him leaning under the table in Telerenria in the Dark Friend Social, which I
Yeah.
like. I loved that scene so much. I loved the way he leaned under the table, and I was so afraid the first time I watched it. And then I loved him saying, like, you know, are there monsters? And like, you know, it's a very important meeting. I love the way he says it. And this was, again, it was so gentle and so sweet and beautiful, and like, and no one would help her.
And he seems normal when you compare him to Maggedian. Because
Yeah,
she is
yes.
off the walls, fucking bananas, bonkers. Like, I don't even know what to say. She
Oh,
is in, like, truly,
Yeah.
like I get, like, I know some, like, I know, Jay, you haven't watched The Boys, right?
No, I mean, I know
So,
it,
like,
though.
that feeling with Homelander when you're just like, I don't know what he's gonna do and I'm really scared. That's how I feel with Maggedian.
Is Homelander's
like-
the one who's in the Captain America suit, right?
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I described her as an anything goes character.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the anything can happen character, and it makes her exciting to watch. That's how I described her to someone.
Oh, for sure.
The first time I watched it, the food bit did make me.
Oh.
And I'm a chef. I've dealt with, you know, gross things over the years in terms of, you know, food, waste disposal units, you know, like incinerators, like grease traps, like all these different things that, you know, stop crap going down the drain, basically.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I've dealt with food in various states, both pre and post consumption, well, not consumption, but pre and post going out to a guest.
Yeah.
And that, that got me a little bit.
Megan and I have iron guts.
That's I normally do as well.
No, I don't.
I can.
You
I mean,
do.
I'm pretty good. I can clean up vomit and all sorts, and it's, you know, it's fine, typically speaking. But that got me in the moment. But what I was thinking, if that's what they put on screen, what was she doing that they didn't put in the scene? Because she was clearly the actress, Lila.
Laia Costa.
Yeah, Lila Costa was clearly having an absolute ball, just being psycho, dude. Like,
Disgusting
I'm just
and
gonna do
weird.
everything, you know. Like,
Well, and like,
I
what
bet
was she
was
doing with the clothes?
eating them, twisting them, ripping them, tying them
It
in
was
knots.
so weird.
Yeah.
Like sniffing them. Like, it was just
Yeah.
weird.
She's great.
She's unhinged.
She's unhinged. And I said to Zach was like, Maggedian's kind of weird. Like, he was like, I have to say, I asked him,
She's kind of weird.
I asked him yesterday, I asked him who his favorite character was. And he didn't have a straight up favorite character, but he did say, he was like, I really like Lanfear, you know, like, you know, and David keeps calling her Celine.
I'm going to have a talk with him.
David keeps calling her Celine. He's just like, I love Celine.
My co-worker today is she started watching The Wheel of Time because of me. I was like, where are you up to? So she sent me an image from episode 108. And like, is this where you got your name from? And I was like, no, well, kind of, but also not. And I was like, are you enjoying it very much? And everyone's like, oh my God, yeah, there comes Valkyrie-Con. I was like, she's not that kind of person, but you know, she didn't expressly say no. But I said to her, it's like, so have you got any further? Where are you up to? She's like, oh no, I'm on the second season. Like, I can't remember what episode. I was like, well, what was the last thing you remember? She's like, do you know what? That chick with the dark hair, what's her name? I was like, Celine? She's like, yes. I'm not sure about her. I don't trust that innkeeper lady. I can't figure out why, but she's very suspicious.
Ooh,
I love it.
Nice.
So
Nice.
maybe it's just the guys.
She's
who,
got a
like,
good head
wear
on
it.
her shoulders,
She
unlike
does.
some other people I could mention.
I keep hearing a lot of it's always the guys who are like, Lanfear's great.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, Lanfear's
She's the worst.
She's
I'm
a
not
home
gonna
wrecker.
drop the C word this week. I'll be good. But
Is that because you got a little one around you?
well, no, she's upstairs now. But
Okay, right.
But I have to. But I thought it was interesting because Zach was like, he was like, I don't. He was like, McGettian's too. He's a little. She's a little too. Not too. He wasn't. It wasn't a criticism. It was just about the character. And I said
Right.
she's really arch. And he was like, oh wait, what does arch mean? What do you mean by that? And I kind of explained like an arch villain. I was like, she's mustache twisting. There's nothing about her that's subtle, and there's nothing about her that is like you might question, is she possibly good or not? Like there's just no that's one of the really lovely things we've talked about in the first 2 seasons is that the villains have all had these sides to them that we can see where they're coming from. In the
And
books,
empathize,
in the books
yeah.
they do to some degree, but the Forsaken generally don't. And so
Mhm.
I think the fact that and here we're just saying like Lanfear, everybody's into Lanfear, but I'm into Ishi. I adore him. I love him. I want to like help him. And he tortures them. Lanfear's a literal torturer, and we'll get
Yeah.
to more on that in a second. But Zach was like, yeah, there's something like fun watching the characters who you're like kind of sympathize with, or who seem like real people. There's a real authenticity to them. And not to say that Laia Costa's performance is not inauthentic, but to say that her character is just, I also love that she's being bold. Yeah, because like,
Yeah.
she's like, last time around, I did sit in the shadows. And she's still working from the shadows, but she's like, Lanfear thinks I'm weak, and I am going to be bold. And I just love how bold she is being. And
She fully embraces being evil. And let's be honest, the average human being does not generally meet someone
Evil.
who fully embraces being evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, which
She's
I think like makes it so that Zach can't relate to her.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he can with Lanfear or whatever. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know her backstory in the show.
Meggettians.
Yeah.
What, like how she became to be Forsaken?
Like, why does she chew up people's food and spit it
I
out?
just
Like,
I want to know everything about her.
Why does she
I
spit
do.
in people's tea?
Just, like what happened? Like, did she have some psychotic break, or like what happened?
I think she grew up very, very poor and had to be someone's servant and was treated horrifically, and thus likes to fuck with the world as a result.
I also
I'm
have
totally
a theory.
making that up.
I have a theory. This goes
All right,
back to
theory number one, everybody.
Theory
Loony
number one.
theory
everybody.
number one.
Loony.
Here we
It's loony. It's really loony. This goes back to Jaichim and her putting her fingers in his mouth, which was so disgusting. It was like so gross. But remember, I said I feel like there's something with her fingers being. And Zach was like, Lanfear's fingers aren't necrotic, are they? And I was like, look at you pulling up the necrotic word. And they're not. I was like, no, I think it's something to do with Meggettian, but I think it is something to do with her power. And I think physical touch has something to do with her power. And I think that there is something about her touching things that leaves some residual ability for her to. Remember when Maureen gave the boys the coins in the first book?
Right.
And she has and she has a bond. And she also tells Nynaeve, she says, if you've healed someone, you have a bit of a bond with them. Like you can find them more easily. Like you tracked Egwene, not me, because you were finding Egwene because you healed her once. And that affinity, I think she calls it. I think there's something to that with Meggettian. And I think her chewing up and putting her saliva in the food, that the Black Aja are eating is going to give her an ability to either find them or follow them, a connection. Maybe will make them more susceptible to her manipulations when she decides to. I mean, her hugging Nynaeve. Like, I don't think it was just her being huggy. I think there is something physical about Meggettian that she gets or that she exudes from actually physically touching people. That's my theory.
Kind of something akin to how in the books, when Padden Thane gets really, like his corruption sort of becomes something, and he can like touch people, and his corruption sort of wears off and affects them. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's that loony of a theory. And we may never get it confirmed. It might just be how Laia Costa's playing it. Like, it could just be Laia Costa's choice or, her discussions with Rafe or whatever. But I think there's something physical to her.
I want to see outtakes of her. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think they would be the best outtakes.
Yeah.
Just absolutely.
I feel like everybody on set might avoid her.
No.
Too creepy.
On set, I would probably hang out with her because I remember
She'd be lonely.
Yeah, she'd be lovely. That's true. But I remember one time I dressed up for Halloween and I got like this like rotted cape type thing. It was all from a hire center, but like rotted cape, and I was wearing chains and like tattoo sleeves and things like this. And I had like this blue tattooed face that had like piercings and all sorts of stuff. And basically all you could see was my eyes under it. But I fully went in for like the creepy staring eyes that sort of just give you nothing but psycho vibes. And I just walked around and wordlessly stared at people and like did weird head tilts and things. And yeah,
People forget.
see that Meg's reaction right there. You know?
Mhm.
And
I
they were
don't like scary stuff, as Jen can attest to.
I mean, I'm not a scary. I don't watch horror movies and things like that myself, but for
You
some
just
reason,
create them for other people.
it's fun to create. Maybe if I ever became an actor, like horror would be my thing, And
Horror
they'd be like,
is
"So what?"
fun to play.
Yeah,
It's
and they'd be like,
fun
"So
to
what do you
play.
watch? Like, what's your horror movie of choice, Rob?" And I'd be like, "I don't watch horror.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
don't
like to
like
do
that
it.
stuff, And they're like, "But you do." I'm like, "Well, that doesn't mean I like to watch it,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm good
fair.
at cooking. Doesn't mean I like being a chef,
Oh,
But yeah,
so good. She's
honestly,
so horrible.
yeah, I think her outtakes, like if they did a blooper reel of her, it would just be phenomenal. So, but sticking with her, let's talk about the hugging and the moment with the girls then.
That was my. I don't know. There were so many good scenes, but that one had me on the edge of my seat and felt so much like the books.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved seeing Nynaeve and Elayne like try. I mean, like, and I remember them saying this, like they were like fighting each other for like who could answer her first, who could like make her the happiest, like, and they
Yeah.
played it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That scene. That scene is in the books. It's from Elaine's point of view. We're in Elaine's point of view, and she's like, she was like, "Oh, Nynaeve beat me to that. I wanted to say it faster."
Yeah.
David just read it like a month ago, and he was like, "Okay, I know that I get sleepy sometimes when I'm reading at night, but I am really confused. Like, who is the serving woman?" And I was like, "It's Meganian." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "It's Meganian." And he was like, "But they don't say that. Like, why didn't he say it's Meganian? Like, why does he never say that?" I'm like, he can't. It's from Elaine's point of view. Like, Elayne doesn't know it's Meganian, so he can't tell you it's Meganian. And he's like, "Yes, but there aren't enough clues. I don't know who was." And he was really like, "Okay, now
Oh.
I see it." And and I went back and reread it, and I mean, I had just read it. I was reading it at the time, and I was like, but I know. And so I went back and reread it again, like with that idea, and I was like, yeah, I can see how the first time through, because you're reading it in Elaine's point of view, and she's like, "Oh, there's a serving woman at the door. Oh, isn't she pretty? Oh, I would love to," like, whatever, and she just like immediately switches into this like subservient place. And so I was like, okay, that's fair. So he loved the scene because he was like, that's the way I wanted to experience it when I was reading the books, but I was confused, so I wasn't as afraid and I wasn't as nervous about it and uncomfortable. And he was like, "Oh my God, I love that scene so much. Like, that's the way I wanted to imagine it when I read it."
The three of them together, they were so
And
because
I
I mean,
love Meganian being annoyed by Elayne. She's like, "I know who they are."
yes.
And pulling her hair. She's like, "No,
Oh, I miss her
stop."
pulling the hair.
Yeah, she just like Elaine's like, "It's this one, it's Ispan," and she's like, "I know who they are."
Yes.
And Elaine's like, "Okay."
Sorry, my answer wasn't good enough.
Did you watch the after where Zoe was like, "Yeah, I had to figure out." Well, it was also for the whole episode, but she was like, "I had to figure out how Nynaeve laughs because
She's never laughed.
She
on the
doesn't
show.
laugh.
Never laughed. That's so true.
And she said it was kind of like silent, right? Like,
yeah,
she
like
said it
her
was
first
like a silent
her
laugh.
like real laugh was like silent at first. Yeah, it's so cute. It's so
That's
sweet.
amazing.
Yeah,
I haven't watched that yet because obviously I'm waiting to
Yeah.
to watch the preview type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always try to fast forward through it and then I end up watching it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I don't want to watch those before I do these recordings today. So,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
that will
No, we will not talk
happen-
about that part. No.
That's fine. That will happen Monday night. I can't do it tomorrow because I am running off to London. I'm off to the Olivier's.
Oh,
So
fun.
yeah, it should be a good time. Lots of fun people hosting and people up for awards. Mira Sayal's up for an award.
I was just going to say Mira's
Yes.
up for something, isn't she?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So hopefully she wins, and hopefully she has such a good time that she goes to the after party. Because thank you, Sulin, who basically, doesn't run it herself, obviously, but she's one of the major players in the team and the company that puts the Oliviers together. She gets, like discounted tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I get to go. And those tickets not just include entrance to the event, but they include entrance to the after party, which is at the Natural History Museum. And they fill it with like bars and snacks go around on like conveyor, people with them on trays. You just help yourself. And there's a disco in one of the rooms. And I'm just like, there's lights everywhere. I'm like, we're going to be partying. Did this last year, obviously. Partying in a museum at night. Honestly,
Under a
it's a
T-Rex.
blast.
That's so
Under a
fun.
T-Rex.
And
with
under a
Mira's-
T-Rex
yeah.
and other dinosaurs and things like that. It is honestly such a blast.
With the Samael stuff?
Okay, right,
He
yeah,
can't be dead.
He's
Sorry.
not dead.
He's
No.
not.
Sorry,
dead.
you said Demandred, and then that took me to Samael because of my
That's
Samael
fine.
is Demandred theory. So
Yeah, there's no way he's dead. Everyone's
No.
like, oh, dead. What was the meme? And it was like, it was the kid drowning in the pool while someone's saving the older kid, and then there's like underneath the pool is the person, the skeleton dead in a chair, and it was just like, something about I forget what it was like.
was that
Ran.
Omar's meme?
Yeah, Omar's meme, maybe. And it was like, the Hills of Tanchico is the thing being saved. And then someone else drowning was like, I don't know, Rand and Alcera or something stupid like that. And then the skeleton was, but is Sammy dead? And it was like, no, it's a Forsaken.
I don't think so either.
He can't be dead. Like
No. Also, didn't we get sides with him, like, captured?
No spoilers. I don't want to hear anything else. La 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 la.
No,
la, I don't
we
wanna, I don't.
talked
I don't read the
about
sides.
it.
No, we didn't.
We've talked about this. There was...
We did talk about
I probably closed my ears that time too.
it. Okay. All right.
There was an
never mind.
image
It's fine, you can
from
bring it.
there was an image from the Threefold Land where it looked like the guy who plays Sammy, or at least his stunt double, was in the Threefold Land.
So it's Samodian.
Samodian. That's
I'm
what someone
serious.
is.
Is he captured? And if he's captured in the Threefold Land, isn't he Samodian then?
I mean,
Why has no one talked about that? I don't
people
think
No,
have
they
talked-
have. There is that theory. You're wrong.
It has to
Yeah.
be that
Yeah.
theory. Like that's it.
No, Clint, the guy in the hat. I'm sticking with Asmodean. Sorry, no. Sammy can teach. Sammy can be captured and teach.
Then there is
teach
no
Rand.
need for Asmodean at that
Asmodean.
point.
Asmodean can just fill other roles. We just need Asmodean's the fan favorite. He needs to. be there.
Asmodean, his only
Demon
role is to teach
Taim and
Rand.
Dread.
That's it.
Taim and Dread. Taim and Dread.
All right. Well, we're all very different opinionated on,
Yes, we are.
this eighth person or whatever, but I think we can all agree Sammy's not dead.
Yeah, but also
Yes.
I was like,
Okay, what just happened?
Looney Theory number 2 coming up,
Looney
everybody.
Theory number 2. Okay, Moraine shoots him a look when he's under the
Shoots
rubble
who a look.
as Samodian, which is now his new official name. And I will
Is this
not
like
change
Bemis?
it.
We have Samodian.
Yeah, Bemis and Shimodian.
You're not having any Hills
I
of
know.
Tanchico.
I'm like, oh,
What's your
yeah.
excuse?
coffee. This is black coffee.
What did you put in that coffee this morning?
Yeah, I know. I wish I had. This is what I've been confused about, and it was something I wanted to talk about today. So we're jumping ahead to the end, not all the way to the end, but he's laying under the rubble. Moraine and Lan casually walk up, and of course Moraine walks up, and she's like, I'm once again annoyed because Lanfear's like, let him figure it out on his own, and like Moraine didn't do anything when they were there. But they walk up.
I don't
see him
think
under
she
the
would have been
rubble.
able to really do anything anyway. Like that wasn't already done.
Maybe fine. But she looks at him. She looks at Samael in the rubble. She looks up at Lan, who's carrying his sword. And then she looks at, and it's not immediate that Rand is trying to, save Alcera. We'll talk about that more. But it's not, there's an instant where she doesn't have to act yet. She doesn't have to do anything yet. She just walks up, it looks like the dust is settling. And I think that maybe he's already holding Alcera, but it wasn't imminent that he has to go, she has to stop him from channeling. She looks at Samael, she looks at Lan, and I'm like, why did you not say, put your damn sword
Through his
him
heart.
right now?
Mhm.
We've already established that Moraine is like, you need to go back and get your dad's sword because you need the Malkiri sword because you're going to need it to kill Forsaken. There's a Forsaken under the rubble. She's already slit somebody's throat and knew that wasn't going to be enough to kill her. She knows he's not dead. And I was like, why is she not running him through? Moraine is going to be integral in helping to capture him so that Rand can learn from him. That is what's happening. Looney theory number 2 for the day. I win.
Well, okay, and to put some more evidence perhaps to your Looney theory, Moraine and Lanfear have been conspiring.
Yeah.
So do you think there's some maybe like off-screen scene where like there was this implication that Lanfear is sending Rand a present in the form of some ale to teach him?
Yes,
I do.
I think she did absolutely send him.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's Tame and
And
Dread.
those were obviously Shido with him, correct?
That's what we
Yes.
said. I thought so
Yeah,
too.
that's what I think. I like this. I'm in for this. I think that either she or no, I think Lanfear shows up and does what she did to Asmodean and ties the shield on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
With the teeny tiny little window.
with a teeny tiny little window to let it just a little sliver out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was about to say, Moraine could do that with the Sakanan, but she doesn't know how
she
to tie
does
her.
not have the skill for that.
No,
She doesn't
because
have
she
the skill
didn't
for
know
that,
that
and
you
she
could
doesn't
leave
know
a
how to
shield
tie
up.
her.
Yeah, she didn't even know you could do it.
So she's not gonna, even if she could do that, she's not gonna know how to do it and leave a teeny tiny window open. So
Right.
I like
Right.
Sammy being his. Can you just imagine the tension between those two as he's has to teach Rand, and it's like, your lot has been thrown in here.
It's a way better person in that sense. It's a way better, like, interesting dynamic of the teacher as the person who hates him.
Yeah, and they'll be fighting each other. Much as you have to fight Sidene. So
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Tame and Dread, Tame and Dread, Tame and Dread, Tame and Dread. Sorry, I've been
I'm
on the Demon
still
Dread train.
Asmodean, and do you know what? After this episode, I have a real sinking suspicion that we do not find out this season who
The last
Matt and
one is.
Myra is. I don't think we don't find them out yet. Even if we know that it's going to be, even if Asmodean is mentioned, I still don't think we find out who is playing Asmodean this season.
I agree.
I've just got a
yeah.
sinking suspicion that's going to be it, and then
Yeah.
we'll be rolling these bets for 2 years.
I would like to point out, I would just like to say this again, just for posterity, that the scene in the books where Lanfear ties off a shield on Asmodean, she says, and you were never very good at breaking through shields because you don't like pain.
Yes. Rob and I were wrong.
Fine.
Sorry. I don't gloat much.
This is
That's
true.
okay.
Yes,
It's
you
true.
don't.
I am a
you don't-
huge gloater, so I have
Yes.
to take it if I give it. So
Yeah, Meg gloats like it's the only
Yeah.
time she's ever won anything.
Yeah.
So
She gloats like a little sister is what she does. She gloats like a little sister. Look at her. Look at the face.
well,
Oh my God, the little sister face.
She's a big sister to me because I had to be shipped. So
Yeah.
stop
yeah.
calling me old. Oh wow! Look at Matt's comment in the chat.
Wow. That's awesome.
Robert, Meg. Wow, thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. That's something. We are wrong sometimes. I'm right about Asmodean, but we are wrong sometimes.
It's
So.
very rare that I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. Except we have, unfortunately, Megan. They've now been like they're in their posterity.
Talk about it.
Yeah, they're in posterity. Yeah, let's just talk about episode 1, walking
Hall of
through
Servants.
that hallway, Hall of Servants. I think I
Can
built.
I talk about something I was right about that nobody knows I was right about because someone wouldn't answer my call?
Yes. Wait,
Oh.
Dusty
What?
Will wouldn't answer your call?
No, you, Jen.
Oh,
Okay.
right. I forgot. You tried to tell me your theory before the episode
So I
dropped.
called her on the way home from school. This was Thursday because I hadn't watched the episode yet, but it this came to me. I was like, okay, we all know Alicera is going to be the one to die, and it's going to be the whole Stone of Tear scene. And I was like, but wait, I think they're going to make it even worse. Rand is going to kill her accidentally, and it's going to feel that much worse. But nobody heard my theory, so it sounds like
So
it's
none
not
of us-
real.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
I will give you all the kudos for that.
I believe that was your theory, Meg.
You should have just left it as a voicemail for me, though, Meg.
Yeah.
Like, then it would
I never
actually
leave
be-
voicemails. I
I'll
don't.
put a
I know,
voice
but-
comment in our group chat, and then
Yeah.
I'm there as well for posterity. So
Yes. Yes.
you know,
have to.
much like I left a voice note last week when we posted our reel for the cocktail, and Meg tagged Empress Is it just Empress?
It's Empress 1908.
Empress 1908 for the cocktail, because she used it in the cocktail, and they responded saying it was lovely and wonderful, and they were so happy. And then you replied, and then they replied again, and it was just like, this is But I left the voice, and I was like, so very, very excited, because she makes great cocktails.
Yeah, you do make great cocktails.
But yeah, I did love the scene. Well, that sounds bad. I didn't love watching a kid die. Let's be very clear about that.
No.
But I did love how the scene worked out, and I was like, "Oh my god, they've made him accidentally kill her." And I was like, "That takes the original scene and amps it up."
Also, he has toe to her.
He does.
He already has toe to her.
He has, for the
he
garden.
has unfulfilled toe.
I have, I highlighted that in here.
I have a long-term theory about that.
Me too. I bet it's the same. Okay,
it probably
so mine is he has toe to her, and she said, "You have to harvest my garden when it's ripe." So he's gonna have to go back and do that at some point, or that's gonna be a thing that's gonna be way down the road. But we're gonna see that revisited at some point.
I agree, and I want to specify
Okay.
with that. I want to be specific with that. I want to say that it's part of the Veins of Gold moment.
With the apple trees.
With the apple trees, he goes back and somehow the squashes aren't doing right or whatever, and he has his moment and realizes and turns up at her garden instead of the apple trees.
Yep.
And makes the squashes grow, and then picks them, and just fills a basket, and he's just like, I have met my toe, or something of that nature.
Oh my god, I love that.
Let's tag all the screenwriters and whatever on that, because that needs to happen.
Hey, I might be there by then. So
yes.
if I'm there by then, I'm sorry, Rob. Just because of industry rules, I probably won't be able to give you full screen credit for that. But
no, I'm just gonna post that out. That's our soundbite for the week. That's how posterious we're going to make that clip.
Okay, and you guys are both inspiring me on that thought, which I love. So I think you guys are both absolutely right on. I think that that's going to be something important, and I think that we will be able to. Okay, so here's the other thing that I'm loving in this is like we are like he is trying to embrace IEL culture. I think he will do what he does in the books, which is like I'm still not one of you, and and this might even turn him off of it a little bit. But I think. I'm pretty sure, I really hope that we don't get the list. That we don't get the list in the form that it is. No. That we don't get it in the form that it is in the books, which is just a bunch of women. Because we have already established, he already has the relationship with Egwene, which will need to be, he wants to protect everyone. So she has already said, how can you not let me decide for myself a little bit? But he also had that moment in episode 1. We're going to see that revisited at the end of the series, of him saying, it's not my place to decide for her. And I love that. And I love that. But I think that the whole idea that he just like, I wouldn't harm a woman. It's only women on my list is so just, it's fine in the 90s and it fits with Robert Jordan's whole thing, but it's not relevant for the show. Like, he is not going to have a list of women. He's going to have a list of people who he's responsible for their death or who he has let down or who he has caused damage to. Also, we had the moment from Elayne. I loved the line from Elayne in the first episode when she says, as a leader, you have to recognize that what will be good for someone will be harmful for someone else. And he had to kill Samael. Like, there was no question.
Or quote, kill. Quote.
Fine. But he had to do what he did in some way. He had to do something. And could he have been more precise? Could he have been, yes, all of those things, which is what's going to be torturing him. I know.
I mean,
but
power move, right? Didn't look, shielded
Yeah.
everything, blew him up with lightning, and was just like...
Which that scene wasn't, it was impressive, for sure.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But I think that we're going to have, I just think that is... I think it will be a different list. And I think the list will be the people for whom I have toe that I can never repay because they're dead. So that's kind of like his level of toe is going to continue to just compound because he cannot meet that toe because those people have died. And that will be what is driving him all the way to Veins of Gold. And that is what is going to bury him
I've had a moment with that as well. Okay, so we just keep building on this apparently.
I love this.
Yeah, this is great.
This is
So-
our own writer's room.
This is
Yes,
our
it is.
own
This is
writer's
how
room
it
right now.
works.
Yeah. So think about the Thirst is a ceremony, you know, and while there's parts of the Thirst is a ceremony which just, you know, nowadays are just like, ugh, that's dumb or stupid or whatever type thing. But a lot of it is obviously great, especially for Elayne Navigator.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
Elayne Navigator. Yes. But there's a moment in there where they say you have to recognize, and I'm paraphrasing it, I can't remember exactly, but basically you know now realize that you have toe to each other that you can never repay. That's what it means to be Thirst Sisters. And
Mhm.
like, you know, it could just tie into Rand learning to be more Aiel and be like, there, you know, you have to accept in life sometimes that there are situations where you've incurred toe and you will never be able to meet that toe.
Yep.
That doesn't mean you don't care and don't try,
Mhm.
but you know, you have to accept that toe will never be met and just take the path anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. It's the core of a good apology, which is you have to mean it, and you cannot expect redemption or acceptance
Or
And if
forgiveness. Yeah.
or forgiveness. And so, if
Mhm.
someone says they don't accept your apology, you have to live with that and
Yes.
walk away. You can't keep trying to get it because it's
Yeah.
not about you. Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love this. I love this. And I love this for Elayne to get veins of gold and where he is at his deepest and darkest because he's
Yeah.
like, there's no way I can ever repay the mountains of toe that I have. And then he has to just accept it and be like, I have to be strong enough to accept it and to take it.
Very, very
Yeah.
cool. I like Sammy being the teacher. This, you know, I'm now going back to Asmodean for a moment. The guy in the hat, Matt's admirer, to use his official title, and because I was scrolling through the credits to make sure I didn't miss it. Another reason, and I sold someone on this theory who was not on board with this theory. They messaged
Okay.
me after this episode and they were like, now I'm on board with your theory. Because who but a Forsaken could randomly just be like, oh, look, in just the evening of a few songs, I've gone and found this bracelet you're hunting for. You know?
Well, he did say it was his dad's shop.
Okay, now if it's his dad's shop and he's been storing things for decades, that means he's been around Tanchico for a while. He would be familiar with its heritage. Why would he not know about the Shackled Man statue?
I think he did, and that's why he went to his dad's shop.
But no, but his dad would know about the Shackled Man statue. Why would
Well,
he
I
not
don't
see
think he
that bracelet?
necessarily he recognized the idea that well,
I don't know.
I
mean,
can't. Nope. I can't. Nope. I
If his
can't.
dad was around Tanchico for a while, which is kind of what the implication was there, he's a Tanchicoan, then there's no way he sees that bracelet and doesn't at least remember the history of the Shackled Man and
Well,
think it's worth
it
something
looks more
rather than
like
just
a-
be.
But it looks like an arching arm guard. You know, like if you didn't know, like if someone said I'm looking for a bracelet, I would be looking for a bracelet, something thinner, narrower. And so I do think that the other thing is when you grow up in an area. I mean, I remember when I was in Athens and I went into this like clothing shop in the middle of Athens and like, you know, like down some little side street. And the guy who was running the shop was like, "Oh yeah, I'm born and bred in Athens. I've lived here my whole life. You can step outside his shop and you can see the Parthenon." And he said, "Oh, I've never been to the Parthenon." Like, yeah, he was like, I mean, I've seen it my whole life. It's right there, but why do I need to go up there? It was kind of the thing,
Right.
like that's where tourists go. And so there is that idea that like he might not have
Yeah.
ever put two and two together. And Matt showed him the picture because the picture was from the White Tower. You know,
Matt
the
didn't have the
picture
picture.
was no,
Oh, the
you know,
drawings. Yeah.
Matt
okay,
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the drawings. I mean, Matt did. He did
Yeah.
say it was like the drawing that you showed me.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
I still.
so
think
I'm
so.
just saying.
Anyway, let's go back to
Tame and dread. I mean, yeah, tame and dread.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt has a question, which this is, well, I do want to get into this as well because I have to say that I was embarrassed. I'm embarrassed when David picks up stuff I don't because I'm like I'm so deep in the story and he's reading it for the first time. So Matt's question was that is she showing up at the beginning in Tanchico, since we're talking about the statue and everything. Is she showing up would be one of the times when he kind of seeps into the world, like he could kind of touch the world. And in the books, the idea is he was sealed closest to the surface of the seals, like he was the last one sealed,
For the
and
boar,
so
yeah.
for the boar and but the show has them each sealed separately. So the question he has is, did Luz botch Ishi's seal? And I think that's really interesting because I've been kind of wondering about that as well. I've been wondering sort of how they were going to handle could he touch the world? You know, did he have some ability to touch the world? And then I was like thrown back actually into the prologue of the first book, and I'm like, wait, but Ishi shows up after they've already sealed the boar,
Yeah.
and you know, and they're all going mad, obviously. So the taint has already happened, the backlash has already happened, and Ishi shows up and he's like, I want you to remember, and he like heals Luz Theron enough so that he can remember. And I'm like, how did he show up? Was that whole scene in Tel'aran'rhiod? Like, how could he touch the world the way he could touch it? Could he
You mean
actually show up
in
in the
the book?
flesh? Yeah, in the book, and then going back to this show with that as well.
I suppose in the book it's a very poor way of saying it, but it was like his essence just sort of got released every now and again. You know, like he didn't get
But right
completely
after,
released.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he got released enough that he could, you know, be seen by people, and obviously like into you know, people's dreams and things like that
Yeah.
as well.
So-
but if you
so
think
I-
about it, in the show, he was
Mhm.
in the boy's dreams in
Yeah.
season 1 before Rand released him.
Yes. And so I was like, okay, he's in the dreams, but he's in the dreams with his like weird wacky face. But then, so I was like, oh my God, was Ishi released earlier than we thought? And I was like, no, Rand released Ishi. Like, he wasn't released. And then David was like, he's in Tel'aran'rhiod. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, he's not. Or he's in her dream. And I was
It
like,
was
what?
very clear.
No, he's not. And he's like,
It
she
was not to
literally-
me on a first watch. Someone had to say
She
it, and I was like,
really?
oh
Yeah.
crap,
Me
yeah.
too. And he was like, she
I didn't
literally
hear the
fell
echo.
asleep. She fell asleep
she
on the
fell
statue.
asleep. They did that whole like jump cut again.
Yeah, they did the jump cut again, which I just was like, that's just Ishi. Okay.
So in the book,
missed it.
I'm sorry, in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what the show mechanics are, again, obviously this is a theory. I would not say loony. It's just a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, and I'm trying to think of what Luz said to him when he was sealing him. I think it said something. Did it say like it was like a sleep?
He said
that.
he said something like that. I just rewatched that scene. What did he
Yeah.
So like, I mean, the fact that like that you're like outside the pattern,
Mm-hmm.
I think you can still probably access people's dreams from whatever sleep that is.
Well, I don't think everybody could, because otherwise Moggy and Lanfear would have been messing with people's
Yeah,
dreams.
especially
Yeah,
Lanfear.
maybe. Yeah, but I mean, but basically, at least in terms of Ishi, I think he was probably able to access people's dreams and whatnot.
Maybe
while
maybe
he's-
he
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. I think maybe he realized whilst he was sealed, like, hey, I can still do this.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But it is similar to the books where he, you know, appears
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
500 years or whatever and causes shit because he caused the Trollocs.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
But I
so-
do, I do think that there is something to that. I do think that they didn't do something right. Like, I'm trying to think of it. Okay, first
Yeah.
of all, my obsession is deep diving the images on the seals. And I
Yes.
did go, and you guys know that I'm obsessed with that. And so I have gone
Yes.
through and I've been like, all right, they put the same seal up and twice of 2 of the towers match and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the seal, this is clearly a continuity area, but the seal that they're standing on when they capture Luz and they do that, the patterns are in a different order than in the one at the Eye of the World when Rand lets him loose in season 1.
Oh.
And it really just yanks my chain. But
yeah, that's
because it's
fair.
continuity error, it's got to be continuity error. It has to be the same place. But my question is, was there a crack in it already? When I'd love to go back and I'm going to look at it when Moraine and Rand walk into it, because we know there's the big crack that opens up when after he blasts. him.
I
don't
would
think so.
probably so there's a lot of talk of basically how good of friends, you know, Luz, Ishi, and Lanfear were before
Mhm.
everything went down.
Mhm.
You know, the three of you were always friends, always too close. You know, that's been said by other people in the show. So maybe when he was finally sealing away, you know, his best friend,
His heart wasn't in it.
yeah, like sealing away your ex-girlfriend who went a bit psycho because you found a new girlfriend, you know, that's one thing.
Mhm.
You know, you're gonna be
You're gonna
focused
go
in,
away
like,
for all time, bitch.
yeah, you're done. But sealing your best friend away, like that's gonna, you know, it's gonna take a bit of doing. So maybe he just, you know, goofed something right at the end. And it just lets.
And we don't exactly know how and when the counterstroke happened in terms of the show mechanics and the sealing. And if they sealed everybody separately, it's news to Ishamael that they've already sealed away the other 7, and
Including Asmodean.
Tame and Dread. But we also don't know how or where they haven't actually talked about we know the 100 companions went. You know, we know that he had the conversation with Latra, who was like, don't
Yeah.
do it like this. But we don't know where that timing is in terms of this Ishamael seal. And so also, is the taint already there? I don't think we see it. Like their channeling looks clean when they're
Right.
channeling him in that scene. We don't see any, I don't think, but now I want to go back and look and see if there's any black flecks around
There might be.
Luz.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but would they
Maybe
have...
it hadn't seeped in, but maybe I don't know. I like the idea of like, you know, imprisoning your best friend. It's a bit tough to do, and so you don't do it exactly right.
Yeah.
So, but it could be either one. It could be both.
Or the taint could have happened in that moment. If Ishamael was the last one to be done, it could have been the last seal. It could have been the boar seal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just don't know if it's do you need all eight seals? And anyway.
Yeah, the mechanics of how they relate to sealing the boar are going to be quite interesting when we find that out. So, but yeah, Issue turning up was great though. I did love it, and I remember initially watching. I was like, Rami, don't make me feel really, really, you know, sympathetic towards Leandrin, because, you know, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but let's talk about Leandrin in this
You
episode.
understand why she hates men.
For
and
sure.
why she is, you know, why she is Black Aja. She's like, the only person who saved me was fucking Ishamael. Like, why would...
She's ruthless in this episode, man. So she kills
Wow.
Naomi.
I saw that coming a mile away.
I did too,
Yeah.
which I was really sad because I love Naomi
Mm-hmm.
in a weird way. And and then she's like, I'm going to become one of the chosen. Like, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like that was one of her aspirations in the books, really.
I mean, agreed, but just like it was nice that they actually like said it out loud.
Yeah. they
It's
verbalized
cute.
it,
It's cute. She doesn't even have a patch on that
no.
amount of power. She's
No,
cute.
I can't wait till Mogedion puts her in her place. And that's
Yeah.
definitely going to happen. For sure.
Oh, yeah. That's
But
going to be...
I did love that, and
Yeah.
I also loved I loved the discovery of her first. I assume it was her first channeling, the moment she
Yeah.
channeled
I
and
believe
killed
that,
them, which
yeah.
was like, again, awful.
'Cause
And
she was
horrible and
surprised.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was surprised. But I also thought that, and it's really interesting too, because she looks about the same age as Bode and Eldrin, which is gross, and
Ooh.
also like, I mean,
She
gross because she had a
channels like
baby.
Nynaeve when she does that.
What do you mean?
Because you know Nynaeve like frequently is like screaming when she's channeling.
Oh yeah. The anger being part of it.
Oh,
When she said to
yeah.
Nynaeve,
Yes.
there's more than one way to channel. You don't have anger is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, because her first channeling was traumatic. Like it
Yeah.
was in a traumatic moment. Yeah. It's great.
But I
It
didn't
was
make
great.
that connection that the way they're channeling to start is very similar.
Again,
God.
Yeah.
leaving us to this like, you know, she even just said it. We saw it in the trailer, but Nynaeve saying like, "Do you think it's this town that did this to her?" And like having empathy for her. Stop having empathy for these horrible people.
Yeah.
Stop it.
So,
But she's,
yeah,
but
I did.
I
have
loved her
empathy
saying,
for
"I want to be one of the Forsaken," and that she sees it as a possibility. But I think she also sees it as yet another place to regain control of her life, because you know, for her entire life, she has been under Ishamael's control, even if he was gentle and sweet about it. You know, even if he was the only person who would protect her in that moment, it's still, she was never the one making the calls and the decisions. And now Lanfear has just stepped into that role, literally stepped on her to step into that role. And it's frustrating. It's got to be like, she's got to be like, yeah,
I mean, you see, I think she even like in that scene where she's on the Amerlin seat, she like does this sigh or something or whatever. She's just like, fuck, I am fucked. You know?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. Oh, and I also love the moment I did, though. This was also really fascinating to me. And Mogedion being really good at compulsion. This is really interesting because the thing she said to Naomi of, can you pinpoint one very small memory to get rid
Yes,
of? Can you
be
pinpoint
more
one thing?
specific? Yeah.
And as soon as Naomi was like, yeah, in the Age of Legends, they could have done that, but I can't. I was like, two things. I was like, okay, so that gives Leandrin a reason to go to Moggy and to actually to change her allegiance from Lanfear to Moggy, because Moggy could do that and could dangle that as a carrot and may know that that's what she wants. And two, the only other person who would be able to do that would be Nynaeve. We've already talked about Nynaeve being able to. We've already talked about Nynaeve getting to the point where she can heal things of the mind that that
Yeah,
what's her
but
name
that's
told
like
her she
a whole
couldn't do.
different animal when you're making somebody forget something. That's not
Yeah, forgetting things, yeah.
That's
Yeah, no, I know it's true, but I do think that Nynaeve would
loony
have the
theory
capability.
number whatnot.
Oh.
I disagree entirely.
Yeah, I'm not buying that one. So okay.
All
What
right.
else we got? So we've already talked the Hills of Tanchico.
The
Oh wait, can we
Hills
talk
of
about who was
Tanchico.
behind? Okay, since we're still on the Leandra and Emerald seat scene,
Uh-huh.
was it Moggy that was behind the columns in that first scene?
Excuse me, someone was behind the columns?
Excuse me, what?
In the very beginning, so when Lanfear's sitting on the Emerald seat, and like, so you're like looking straight at her, and then there's like the columns on the sides. There's somebody hiding behind the columns, and I don't think it's Lanfear.
You mean when Leandrin's sitting on it?
When Leandrin's
Yes, when
there by
Leandrin's
herself.
sitting on the Emerald seat, when we first go there, somebody is hiding behind the columns. And I tried to look on my TV, but it was too dark. But I definitely don't think it was Lanfear, because Lanfear was wearing all of the white and silver, and it was kind of darker clothing.
Well, I mean, she knows she knows the age, in Teleron Roger you can change your clothing, but. All right, I'm rewatching the scene right now on my TV, which is on the screen I'm using, which is a bit lighter than my TV.
Yes. I might even pull it on my phone and like turn
So
up
not-
the screen. 'cause I
Yeah.
haven't
Oh
watched
yeah,
it on my phone
it's
yet.
Moggy. It is Moggy. I can tell.
It is Moggy.
Yeah, I can see her bangs. It's a very, very white-skinned face, and I can see dark bangs like this across it.
It's so close to the right-hand side of the screen. I completely,
Yeah.
I just saw her moving off screen.
Yep,
That's
you
why
see
I
her
didn't
move.
see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice catch, Meg.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another time I am right on something. Yes, just pointing that out.
This is all right. Fine.
Oh yeah, it's Moggy,
Episode-
and she moves like Leia Costa, because she's watching and then she ducks her head as she walks.
Scuttles
away.
away.
Like
Episode 306, the one
softly,
where Meg
softly from the shadows, Laura.
Yes,
you are right.
You are right. Yeah.
Ah, so
Recording
good.
306, where Meg finally was right all the time, almost, except for a
Oh,
small.
hell no.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say? I'm sorry, I was reading comments. What did you say?
I said the recording 306 where Meg was finally right most of the time, except for Asmodean. She's like, watch, I'm going to down another hill in a minute, and you are
right.
going to, yeah.
It is sitting here. I told Troy I had to drink for him, but he said no thank you, so uh-oh.
Oh no.
What?
Oh no. Well,
When
it is
does-
your birthday weekend, girl.
It is my
Yeah.
birthday weekend. Just
Yes.
Exactly.
pre-gaming.
Yes.
gonna
Yeah,
be
yours
rough.
falls on a Sunday. Mine falls on a Thursday. I have to be at work on my birthday.
That sucks.
So, but yeah. Anyway, I
Thanks,
totally missed
Matt.
that. So thank you. You say thanks, Matt.
Could've
He said happy birthday
Meg.
in chat.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the innkeeper do? Right, so I hadn't picked up that, so that was a nice catch.
Yeah.
I want to talk. Let's talk Tom for a hot second.
Yes.
Because obviously seeing Tom was great. We've been kind of waiting for Tom to get back. For me, I think, and it's like really underrated, but it was like a Taviran moment for me where like Matt's tugging at the pattern, because Matt randomly hears a voice and goes, I recognize that voice. So you just see it on his face. He doesn't say that, obviously.
So
But-
what's funny is I just watched Everyday Negro's reaction to this episode.
Right?
And they're mostly just show watchers, not really like super invested. And they were like,
yeah.
is that medieval Mick Jagger? Which is what they call Tom. So they recognized his voice too. So show watchers are like remembering Tom enough that they recognize his voice.
So did David, and I missed
Yeah.
it completely. David was like, "Oh, the song," and I'm like, "What song? What's he talking about?" And then he was like, "I'm so excited! I love that." And he was like, and I was like, "What are you on about?" As we were watching it, and then when Matt, and I even knew that we were supposed to probably get Tom back at this scene, and I completely, again, David caught so much in this episode that I did
That's-
not, and I'm
that is
beside
brilliant.
myself angry about it.
Well, I watch with captioning, and that's how I obviously was just like, oh my god, that's Tom. You know,
Yes.
I was expecting him, and like I heard him stop and hear, and I was like, they're singing. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be Tom. Oh my god, it's Tom. But I don't know how many people pick up. Tom is singing a song about the Horn of Valir,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and I'm just like, just what a perfect like Matt tugging at the pattern Taviran moment.
Mm-hmm.
That you know he picks that sound up in the middle of all the
grave
cacophony of
is
sounds.
no bar to my call. Or
Exactly.
whatever he says.
And
yeah.
in the moment he picks up Tom's voice in that cacophony, Tom happens to be singing a song about the Horn of Valir. And I was like, what absolute subtlety with the Taviran moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is, yeah.
Thank you for
brilliant.
saying that, because I missed that too. I was like, is he just re-singing the man with no brain? Not the man with no brain, the man who can't forget. And I was like, sorry. That was
Well,
my Steve
initially
Martin
I
moment.
thought he was singing like I thought they were going to like foreshadow things, and he was singing a song from the band.
Oh,
From
interesting.
the band,
Oh.
yeah, from the band The Red Hand, and then I realized
Well-
no, he's singing about the horn. Oh my god, that's even better.
Now, Meg, was it you or Rob that had the theory that Tom is gonna, or maybe it was somebody online, I don't know, that had the theory that Tom is going to tell Elayne, no, Gabriel has not been with your mom for 10 years.
It was Delving the Chronicles were talking about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to give credit where none of these theories are mine. Well, no, all the loony, stupid ones that don't actually make sense are mine.
I don't know.
Uh,
We built a really good one around Rands and the
Veins of gold.
Veins
Yes.
of Gold.
Oh, and
Loving it,
also
loving it.
can I talk about so Everyday Negroes always comes up with nicknames for everybody.
Yes.
So Sarah's nickname was Lil Squash.
Oh, no,
Little squash. And she
Oh
got
no, that's even worse.
Squashed by the
She got
squash.
squashed. Oh no! Did they call her that before she got squashed?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh,
We need
Okay.
a name for our theory around the whole like
Veins of
Alcera
squash?
and the squash veins of
Squash
Veins
of
of
gold?
squash.
Or squash of
Yes.
gold.
Squash gold.
Squashes of gold.
squashes of gold.
Squashes of gold, yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. Squashes
Okay.
of gold.
Gold, the golden squash.
The golden squash. No, squashes of gold sounds
Squashes
fun.
of gold.
Yeah.
I like it.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
she's
so-
going to be the first name on his list. He's still going to have a list of some sort, but I just think
Yes.
like the idea of it being a women's list is stupid.
This is
I
true.
thought it was stupid in the books. It made me angry in the books. That made
That's
me wanna
fair.
punch
I'm on
things.
number 2 now. Ooh,
All
that
right.
needs to be stirred.
But
Stir
yeah,
your
everything-
hills, baby.
Stir those. Yeah. Shake those
Shake
hills.
the hills.
Yeah. Like.
Oh my god, we have to
Tom's
go back to
moments were
Hills.
just great in this.
Tom's moments were so great, and so let's go back to Hills of Tanchico for a moment with both
Right.
the Tom of it and the Elayne of it. First of all, yes, like him turning around and being like, "What in the world is the daughter heir of Andor being here? Like, why is she
Mhm.
here?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I just said. None of those words were correct, and I'm literally just
I feel
drinking
like
coffee.
Meg is drinking the hills of Tanchico,
I'm getting
and
drunk.
Jen is falling
We are-
down them. You know.
We're twinning.
13 years
We're
apart.
twinning. Matt said, so the scene only occurred because Kira sang at the season 2 rap party. Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
Rafe said, was like she was singing there and like, she can sing. We have to write a song for her. Then the writer's room went into like, what are we going to come up with? And then the Tales of Tanchico was born, which is, again, just like
The Hills of Tanchico.
the hills. What did I say?
The tails.
Tales of Tanchico.
No, I said hills. I just said, like, I was just slurring my words because of your alcohol. Thank you. I did not say tails. I said hills. It just came with a T in front of it. Anyway, she was amazing, but I loved so much about the performance. I loved Tom being like, "Are you sure?" and her being like, "Uh-huh." And then I loved her starting it and him being like, "Damn, like A, you
Yeah,
can sing,
yeah.
and B,
And kind of like
like-
proud.
he was totally proud." It was like
Yeah.
perfect Tom Elayne moment.
Yeah.
Then
He's like,
Then
oh,
sh-
I could
yeah.
actually get away with saying she is my apprentice, you know?
Right.
Like,
and then she says like, and then she looks, she sees them, everybody grabbing their boobs, and she's like, "Ugh," and she looks at him and he's like, "That's the song, baby," kind of. And then her daughter heir version of, "I'm never gonna quite grab myself the way all these women are."
She does like this.
She just, and she like, she lightly touches above her breasts, and then she does a
Yeah.
little baby shimmy, and like,
Yeah.
but it's so lovely because everybody's drunk enough that they aren't noticing that she's not quite going as far as maybe a normal
Mhm.
tavern wench would, but
Yeah.
it's just perfect. And
And
you
I
know.
love Matt's line, like, "She's my friend."
yes. Yeah, that was such. It's just my friend.
So
I know her. You know, like.
it's so good. I wonder if that was improvised, actually.
I
Oh,
mean,
I think it might have been.
I
This
feel
is
like
so
it could have
great.
been.
Mhm.
The cat has jumped on the table now. He's learnt that if I move and make space for him, he can pop up and join
my
us.
gosh,
So you
he's so
might
sweet.
hear purring in the background.
Yeah, loved the Tom stuff. Matt had a question. Did she recognize him too? I mean, in the books, she's too young. She doesn't really remember him. She kind of like eventually does, but she's like was young enough to not really recognize him. So I don't
Just
know.
remember the mustaches.
Yes, and I don't know that she did recognize him. I don't think, based on what we saw in this episode, that she actually recognized him. But he may share
Well, I
information.
also wonder if so. I kind of have a loony theory
Mhm.
that
Hit me.
Ravine maybe compelled him out of her brain
Oh,
because
But
he's like
would
because
he-
maybe Tom and Morghese had that relationship, and then Ravine's insisting that he has been with Morghese for a decade. So maybe he had to erase Tom.
Well, if he had been with Morghese within that 10 years that Gabriel apparently is with Morghese, then Elayne would have been old enough to remember him before
but
the 10-year
Ravine
mark.
compelled him out of her brain.
Made
her forget.
He's only changed 10 years.
We also
he's not changed forever.
I mean, I don't know when he was with her, is what
But
I'm
that's
saying.
the point. No, but if he has to compel Tom out of everyone's brains, that means Tom was around within the 10-year mark that he's clearing for himself.
And why not?
But if
if he was, then Elayne was at least 10 years old.
But you're saying, and because he got rid of her, so she's
so he's cleared 10 years of memories. Some of that might be Tom, but he's not cleared 20 years of memories, which is how old Elayne is. And if Tom was around, there's no way Tom turned up after the 10-year mark. So are you
saying because you think Tom was around at the time of Elaine's birth because he had to kill Tarangale?
Yeah, I think Tom was around when Elayne was born, not when she was 10 or 11 or 12. Because that's the only way he's been erased, is if he turned up after she was 10 and then left prior. That's the only way he's completely erased, which, all right, now that I've explained it, is probably possible. But I think he turned around when she was, turned up when she was 5'6", I think.
We know he's not in the coronation scene. I don't know that Gareth Bryn is. There was talk of maybe Gareth Bryn was in the coronation scene, but I don't necessarily think so.
Also, I think we're definitely not getting the 5 captains, by the way.
I don't know.
Because I feel like they're kind of making Bashir not potentially Captain General of Saldea.
Yeah. She said military family, and she said they were both generals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that there's. I've been questioning the 5 captains situation as well, because I just think it's clean. I think it's cleaner to just get Matt there. I think it's cleaner to just take advantage of Matt's
and so
battle.
we're not going to have Grendel do any of that.
It's also, I mean, it's great, but it happens within the last battle, and it happens things are going well, and then things are going bad, and things are going bad because she's doing it, and then so there's an aspect of you could just wholesale remove that section and still have things get shitty. You know? And then they get bad again when Demon shows up.
Been so good at manipulating from the shadows. Ravine's so good with compulsion. You could easily give that part to someone else. Yeah, if you needed to.
Yeah, and I just don't think. I mean, you could have somebody else being compelled to do bad things in the.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go to great captains. You could just go to whoever you've put in charge on whatever battlefield you happen to have.
But honestly, I feel like they're raising the stakes of compulsion a little bit in the show more than the book. So maybe by the time we get to the last battle, they'll realize that compulsion is a real threat. And so they'll be like, Matt with his foxhead medallion is the only one safe from compulsion.
Yeah.
So he's the only one that can, be the battle leader.
Yeah. And I also think that it is true. Nobody ever in the books, this makes me crazy. And Jenny did a whole thing about Morghese, but nobody in the books ever really talks publicly about what Ravine did to Morghese and the fact that he compelled her to that degree. And I think that I think it's a disservice to Morghese, but I also think that it's y'all are missing a really important part of battle planning by not having a conversation about what happened and that could happen to somebody else. So the fact that we have the 5 generals getting compelled is just well, you guys all deserved that because nobody prepared for it.
Right.
You know that the Forsaken are out there doing stuff like this. So it's to me that's just a bad battle foresight thing, and I think that it would in the show it might not be believable that no one's having that consideration.
Yeah, you need to protect your your generals and whatever else from all the crazy things that the power can do. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the next question, which is: should we talk about we haven't even talked about Two Rivers at all? Should we talk about the controversy of Dira? I do not mind. I love her in the books. I don't care.
Yeah, initially I was just I'm not sure I like that, And then as I've sort of percolated it around, I was like, yeah, it's not the end of the world. And then someone said, what if they're writing them out? What if we're not getting Fael's parents? What easier way to write them out now than to be my mother was a dark friend, so we're not going to explore my family history. You know,
And she did not say what happened to her dad.
no.
So we don't know if Davram is still out there somewhere and does show
Davram
up
could
at some
appear.
point.
Yeah.
Davrmodian.
Oh my
Devmodian.
God.
Jesus.
Stop. You're just trying to be controversial to be controversial.
Of course I am. I don't actually think he's going to be Asmodean.
No.
I don't
know.
think
But-
we're getting Asmodean.
Yeah, it didn't, you know, because I was just like, well, if it's a lie, that's an extreme lie
No,
to tell.
I don't think she would lie. There's no
Yeah,
reason for that.
Because,
No.
like, yeah, I say, if you're just trying to hide who you are, that's an extreme way. That's like trying to say, you know, that would be like, I don't know, Prince Harry or William trying to hide who they were in another country by, you know, accusing, you know, Princess Diana of being, you know, Ted Bundy. You know, like, you know,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just because when the truth comes out, you're just like, well, yeah, okay, he didn't want to come and meet you because, you
Right.
know, I told him you were Ted Bundy and I
Yeah.
ran away.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's not a secret anybody, you know, like they're not going to trust you again, and
Yeah.
parents never going to trust you again. Like it doesn't work. So the logistics there. So it's got to be, I think, you know, well, we're just going to get rid of them and that's it. But we could get Davram, and you know,
Yeah.
or we could not. Maybe the family got wiped out, and she was just like, I don't want to be the queen, and so she ran away to be a hero of the Horn. Still works, you know. So I don't think it's
Well,
major controversy.
I mean, and Jen, I'm sure you're probably headed here where just by doing this, it's making Perrin open up to her easier.
You mean by her giving him that information makes him easier to open up about the Layla story.
About Layla, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because I think I think it would have been an awkward conversation to be like, oh, but there's one more thing I got to tell you. I killed my last wife. Like it's just, you know, like it's kind
Well,
of
he already didn't tell her about the horn. He was enjoying that one, so you know.
Yes. but him going on, like listening to her say, like, I feel guilty for telling my brother who went and then my mom killed him. And she
did what I didn't do. Yeah.
Yes. And she didn't mention Davram, which to me potentially says that Davram ended up killing Dira
Right.
in response to her killing their son.
Yeah, it
But
could be
then
murder suicide. You know?
maybe. I don't know. It's all
When,
bad.
you know, Davram's just like, you know, I got to kill my wife, but I feel so awful about it. I'm not gonna be around because I can't be around without my
Yeah. And I don't think
beloved.
I don't think we need Davram. I truly don't. I mean, I love him in the books, but I don't think we need him. So I think that if he did end up coming in, there might be bad blood between him and Fail, because even though her mom was a dark friend, if her dad killed her mom, that's pretty dark. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on there. And she was like, I had looked up to her my whole life. I had, you know, idolized her. But I also love her saying, my parents were generals and my brother and I were soldiers, because she did some badass moves last week. And I was like, y'all don't just learn that like being in the court. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, and I really liked that we actually saw her as like, she was like, I was a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and also I like her not just being a petulant child running away from home because I don't want to be,
Right.
I don't want to have to be the thing I have to be. Like,
Yeah.
it's just way better. Like it's a nice choice.
I agree. So yeah, I don't mind it on reflection. I think initially in the moment I was just like, how does this work? Because it's not a lie you can tell that, you know, doesn't have giant repercussions later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, what is the purpose then of telling said lie? You know, what is the purpose, sorry, of making Dira a dark friend? And yeah, like just eliminating Dira and Davram, and that kind of fits. And if it went down the whole of like Davram had to kill Dira, then, you know, I don't see him as a character from the books. If he had to do that, I don't see him wanting to be around without her, even though, you know, she was who she was, as it seems to be in the show. And I could see him being like, right, well, that's it, I'm done. And then she has to maybe run away from that taintedness, or just run away from the whole thing. She doesn't want to be around it. Run away from maybe she's now got to be in charge. Maybe Zenobia's like, well, you got to pick it up because you're next in line for the throne or whatever. Like, who knows? Yeah, it's not something that after on reflection I'm just like, I actually really care about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Matt's thrown down some really interesting theories in chat. Is that her mom with Padden Fane?
God, that's gonna
Yeah, that does add stakes.
Well, we'll find out in 4 days.
Yeah, we will.
So
Yeah, we will.
because Battle of the Two Rivers.
Okay,
is
so
next
maybe
week.
Davram doesn't kill Dira. Maybe Fail does.
Maybe Dira chases her down. Ooh.
That's fascinating.
Also,
Oh my
by
God.
the way, I'm still thinking, because Padden Fane came through the gateway clearly in that. I'm still thinking there's some sort of connection with Luke and the gateway. I'm still not sold on it being Alanna and Maxim, with the whole like, oh man and the woman came through and one smells like ash, you know.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking it's Luke and Fael, or it is Pad and Thane coming through of Dark Friends initially.
Mhm.
All right.
And,
I'm
everyone else just
I'm
got there
still
the natural way.
100% sure it was just Alana and Maxim, but I'm
I do too.
willing to
Yeah.
entertain your idea.
All
First
right.
of all, just
well,
going back
Looney
really
Theory,
quickly,
whatever
we-
we're up to now.
theory number 700 for the day. We cut immediately from Perrin and Fael's conversation to the White Cloak reinforcements coming into the White Cloak camp.
Yes.
So we literally like cut from her talking about her mom to that moment. Matt, you are on to something. Wait, is the woman there though? It's just men who we see in that scene, I think.
Because there
Do
are
we
no
s-
female White Cloaks.
I think yeah, exactly. So I think we only see her when she's on the hillside,
With the
which would have been
Trollocs.
earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah. Does it immediately cut there? I thought it goes to Tanchico.
No, it goes
scrolling
straight
through.
from. Oh, maybe this is an earlier Perrin Fael scene. Maybe it's not the one
Yes.
where they tell each other that. Oh yeah, they're not getting it on. It's not that scene.
Right, so it's the
It
earlier
goes to
scene.
Tanchico.
Okay.
And I have to make sure before we finish today, we have to talk about the Egwene Rand breakup.
Oh my God, there's so much. Okay, I did want to say this. Let me just say this. This episode is so deep. It's so dense.
Mhm.
Like
I took a lot of notes.
I
Yeah.
write dense scripts, and I write dense scripts, and I love a dense script. This is so dense. I don't know how they did this in an hour and what is it 9? An hour 8?
Hour 5.
An hour
so
5?
Just
I don't know
over
how they got all this in. It is so much. There are so many characters to service. There are so many plot lines to service, and there's so much emotional work happening.
And lots of people, I mean, like, Naomi died. Ispan died.
Naomi died. No, Naomi died. Ispan
Yeah.
died. The girls healed Alana.
Mhm.
Which
Um,
I was, I kind of bought later on because it felt the way that she was talking to them, it
Yeah.
felt very sort of instinctual. So I was like, okay, I'm buying this. Like this.
Oh, yeah.
this
I
works out
saw
for
that
me.
coming hours ago. I was like, they better send those girls upstairs to do some healing.
Well, I mean, the Two Rivers wisdoms, their whole shtick is that they're healing, right?
Yes.
So, like, I think it is very instinctual to the Two Rivers to like
Mhm.
Yeah.
be healers. So
Mhm.
it wasn't beyond the realm of plausibility for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
big thing for the Two
Yeah.
Rivers, just like being healing and stuff. They all know basic herbs and such. It really, it did really fit.
Well,
for me.
and then actually, Fael made a comment to, was it Daisy that was working on Perrin?
Mhm.
And said something like, your mountain herbs are strong.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that made me almost wonder, was Daisy,
Daisy
actually
has-
healing Perrin somehow?
Yeah, that she has some level of healing as well.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
and
very
we also
possible.
saw an episode, it was Nynaeve's dream, but we saw that Natty became wisdom in
Her
Nynaeve's
accepted
dream.
test, yeah.
In her accepted test. So what we
Mhm.
don't know is actually, was Natty wisdom before she got taken by
By the
Abel.
White
the
Cloaks.
White Cloaks?
Oh, the
Yeah.
White
No,
Yeah.
like do we know
Okay.
that maybe Natty did clean up and became wisdom during this time period that they've been gone? We don't know that.
Mhm.
And
It's
so
very
and then
possible.
Daisy came after her. So if that's possible, then if she was teaching the girls anything about healing, I mean, again, like they weren't using herbs, but just
Mhm.
the affinity for it.
Yeah.
And I love that it's both of them. Everybody's been like,
Mhm.
"Oh, is it just going to be one?" And I'm like, I hope it's both. And I love
It's
that they
both
had
of
to hold hands, and that's their
Yeah.
block. That's
That
going
was
to be
sweet.
their.
Oh,
They're
maybe
gonna
that's
have
their
to-
block.
They're only going to be. I think there's going to be something to that, and now I'm like, never mind.
All right, I'm going to put something
I
on
just have
screen
a really
just,
sad.
just
I have
for
a
the
very
two of you
sad
to
Looney
look at.
theory for the last battle.
One of the twins is going to die.
Yeah, and then the other one won't be able to channel without her.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay,
I'm
this
dark.
this is the scene where they were over the village.
Thank you.
I've gone looking for this now that it's been mentioned by Matt in live chat.
Yeah. Thank you. I've been looking forward to it, and I couldn't find it. Thank
I
you.
really do think that could be
That's Dira.
that could be Dira.
Look at her swords over her back, like a borderlander, like a borderland general. I had a moment when I was like, "Is she Aiel? What is she? Oh my god!"
I thought so too
It's-
for a minute. Yeah. Mhm.
Matt, that's a really good. Sorry, Matt, about my theory about the girls. Matt, that's such a great theory. I'm so down. That's Dira.
Yeah.
That's Dira. Oh yeah,
We're
that's
gonna take a
Dira.
screenshot of that. We'll post that out from our account and be like, "Oh, hi, Dira. Looney Theory 507. Maybe not so loony actually. Kudos to Matt for asking that question. So I love that.
Right.
But yeah, so the channeling stuff. Okay, yeah, I like the twin thing. That being their block. That really that works well. I like that as well.
But I do think the fact that they left out Davram, she didn't say anything about her dad. I don't know what
Yeah.
that means, but we don't have any definitive answer. And it might even just be that the writers' room was like, let's not answer that yet. We don't know exactly
Yeah.
We
exactly
haven't
how
quite
we're going
worked
to
that one
handle
out.
it.
Yeah, that's fair.
We want to leave
That's
it
fair.
open. So,
But yeah, the Two Rivers stuff was good. It felt like, there was a nice enough setup for, because obviously episode 7 is Golden Eyes and it's all Battle of the Two
With
Rivers
the end
stuff.
of the episode with the maidens and Fael.
Yeah, with the
going to check
maidens
out
and
the Waygate,
Fael
yeah.
finding out the Waygate.
did either of you have the panic moment I had where I was like racking my brains and I was like, I don't actually think we've seen Alana in battle gear in the Battle of Two Rivers. She's going to die and I'm not going to be able to
I
handle it.
did.
And Maxim is going to stay.
I
like,
did
lead her
wonder that as
army.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. I said out loud in one of my reactions, I was like, oh my god, one of my reactions, in my reaction, like, is she gonna die? Like, is this actually it? Like,
Yeah.
and then Maxim's, I don't know, like, this, okay. And then the
All
girls
along
turned
I was
up.
like, send the girls upstairs. But I was just like, I had a moment when I was like, oh shit, they might do this.
Yeah.
And I was not prepared for it. And I was
Well,
very
it didn't
happy.
happen.
I know. I
So
was
It
very
didn't
happy that the girls came in and were like,
Yeah.
Healy,
Yes.
Healy, Healy. But then it also could be, I mean, they could trick us out later, but they better not.
No.
Alana's
better
going to
not.
lead a battle to the last battle. A lead an army because she's amazing.
Yes.
Sorry. I love Alana so much. Green Nausea for the win.
We
Okay,
need
Rand and
a lot of
Egwene-
Maxim.
Rand and
Egwene
Egwene.
did
Sorry,
nothing
Meg.
wrong. Egwene did nothing wrong. And I'm so upset with people saying that she did stuff wrong. Egwene did nothing wrong.
No, she did nothing wrong.
There
but
was a
he
severe
also,
lack of communication on her part.
well,
I
mean,
didn't even know that.
On
no,
both
she did.
parts.
I agree. She did nothing wrong. 100% she did nothing wrong. But she did nothing wrong. And this is not a but against Egwene. So just don't chew me up yet.
Okay. I'll
Rand
try.
Rand is also not wrong.
Dumb.
No. Rand is not wrong in that Egwene has never put him first. But she doesn't have to put him first. She's
That's
done nothing
fine.
wrong.
Yes.
She doesn't have to put him first. So when he was like, you left me first, blah, blah, blah. I was like, get over yourself, big boy. But
Yes.
so 100% on that. But I do think that he was not wrong in that she keeps saying, I will be here with you to the end. I will be here with you forever.
I'm here to protect him. All those
I'm here to
things.
protect you. I'm here. I will be with you to the end. But then she does. So she wasn't wrong in that her choice was to go follow her own heart. 100% not wrong. Where I say that she could have been better would have been to not keep making him think that she was gonna be there no matter what, and not follow her own path.
Let's
I think-
also.
No, it's fair. I think she's just like, I'm willing to sacrifice what I need to do. I'm willing to sacrifice to be here for you, and I will do that. Oops, I kind of won't, and she shouldn't have to. So she did nothing wrong, but I do think that there's.
Let's also keep in mind his whole comment, like, as soon as you saw the wise ones, you haven't given me a second thought.
Oh, he was a
She
dick
is
about
being
that.
tortured by Lanfear in her dreams. So,
Yeah.
And
I
she
mean,
did not
as much
tell
as she
him.
wants to learn about the dream, this is survival for her at this
Yes.
point. Like,
100%. She did nothing wrong with that. No.
Yes.
I agree. She did nothing wrong, and it doesn't even matter whether she's getting tortured or not. She has every right to go pursue what she wants to pursue, regardless of him. So there's,
yes.
without question, and he turns into a big fat baby when he's like, me.
He does.
You packed up and went away. He's a
I'm
big
not
baby.
enough.
I'm not enough. He's kenning 100%.
I will agree with that. I will agree
Yes.
with that. I will add in that she hid from him that she was being tortured by Lanfear. Her reaction when she found out it was Lanfear was to not tell him anything. Hey, person I'm supposed to love, person that I'm still kind of dragging out a relationship with. Okay, and this doesn't make what he did right, by the way. I want to be very clear about that. But her actions when she found that out was to not include him in the loop, continue to spend all her time with the wise ones,
Mhm.
and leave him out of it. So when she turns up and has been like, I've been going through this, he's just like, well, here's another example of you putting everything before, not everything, but like you not keeping, not like putting me in there. I'm not in your considerations, and she does, fair. She's being tortured by, an extremely powerful magical lunatic. Totally valid that she needs to go and defend herself. But, if she's all there for Rand the way she says she's going to be, I'd be like, Rand, I need to do this because this is happening to me, and I know you're going to have to deal with the Forsaken, and I want to, let you know that the Forsaken are chasing me as you know, as much as they're chasing you
And targeting
we need-
me.
and targeting me, you know. And then they're you know, they're just, there's lots of miscommunication where it's just like they won't answer each other's questions. It felt like, you know. And she's like, oh, well, okay, so the madness already has you, and he's just like, if that makes it easier for you, and it's just like, neither of you have. Why not just be like, you know,
We've
why
moved on.
yeah, why she can't accept that, you know, hey, he's making stupid decisions with, you know, he's not thinking properly because, you know, men don't
He's
think
thinking
properly.
with his
Yeah, he's thinking with his, you know, and
with his third
so,
sword.
Yes, and
his
she's
other.
just like, well, obviously it's got to be the madness, rather than just be like, you're being a stupid guy right now.
Yeah.
And
Right.
him being like, why
I mean,
does he not say, it's not
feel
the
like-
fucking madness, I, you know, want to save her. And
But I
it's
feel like
stupid.
that also leads her to, at the end, when he does look like he's losing his sanity, kind of join those two thoughts together, and is going to really like change her perception of him.
But I also hope, I really, really, really hope. I mean, we also don't know exactly what she saw in the rings yet, you know, or in the not the rings,
Accepted arches.
the accepted arches. So we don't know
Yeah.
exactly. Like my guess is that she saw him kill Nynaeve and Elayne, and so you know, I think that there is an aspect of, you know, in the same way that Maureen is like sometimes. I think there's an
Yeah.
aspect of her being like, I see what you can potentially
Could.
do. I know it's not a
Yeah.
true future, but I see a possibility. And I think that, so she's looking for that. But I also think, it's as simple as it's two people who want to break up, don't want to be the one to do it, don't want to
Yeah.
take responsibility for the end of their relationship, don't want to be the one responsible for it. And her shifting this off onto him of like, you know, like, it's the madness and whatever, and you're the reason we're breaking up. It's not me. When she broke up with him 7 seasons ago, like, you
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
so it is a really, it's sweet in that sense because they don't want to be the one to hurt the other person.
Yeah.
And so
then they hurt each other more in the process.
and they hurt each other more in the process. And
Yeah.
him saying, and her saying it's the madness, and him saying whatever makes it easier to take. Basically, to me, he was just saying whatever makes it easier to take that I am not in love with you anymore.
Yes.
It's really harsh.
It is.
And also, but her saying you're such a fool of like, you're just thinking that you're in love with this woman who you can't be in love with. And I hope she believed him. It was so obvious to me watching him, like he did not know what Lanfear is doing. And I
Right.
hope that this will be the end of his relationship with Lanfear.
Yeah.
Because even if he's not in love with Egwene anymore, hurting his people, hurting someone he loves will be the deal breaker.
Yeah.
And I think this will be the deal breaker.
What I worry about is, I mean, I do agree, just to go back to the Egwene did, I think, for a moment, I do agree with that. I think some of the things she did not help the situation and open doors for Rand to be petty and immature combinations of, and so on and so forth. But I don't, if she is all for Rand the way she says she is, like, I understand sometimes you have to be like, well, you know, maybe I don't know these things, but, you know, asking, like, did you know? And then not believing his face. Like, you could see it very clearly in his face. He's like, what? And then her not believing him, you could see that on her face, that made him go, well, you must be making shit up, or whatever he's going through his mind.
But
You
I think
know?
she started to believe him, and then Samuel came in. I mean, that's the thing too that's frustrating for me is
they
they
got
did not get to
interrupted. This is
conclude this
true.
conversation.
Mhm.
She didn't get to say, "Okay, I believe you," but we're broken. You know,
Yes.
which is what where it inevitably should have led to. But they didn't actually get to complete it, so we don't know if it solidified in her mind that she believed him, or if the fact that Samuel came and pulled it away. And then you're right,
Yeah.
Rob. But now we saw him behaving clearly with some level of madness,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
that now she has to weigh those things together. And she saw him mad in her dreams. She recognized like him smiling and laughing was just what he did in the arches. You know,
Right, yeah.
you should do what you've always said you needed to do to me, is bow. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
yeah, it's gonna be rough. It's
So
gonna be rough.
might take a lot for them to reconcile after this, but yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
He's being immature and stupid. You know, she's not in the wrong, but she's not helping. And those two situations have just led to, you know, what might have eventually got worked out, but I don't think is going to
No,
get worked out. now.
I think that the truth is, I think that they both it is a sweet childhood love that neither of them feel in that way anymore, just like it is in the books. I mean, I think honestly, it's just so better earned in the show because
Yeah.
they sort of say this to each other in the books really early on, and we're like, huh? Like, when did that
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
And to me,
Because all we
this
got
is-
was they were promised basically from birth, but we
Yeah.
didn't actually get them
Yeah.
promising each other
Yeah.
or caring
And
about each other in that way.
in
yeah.
this, we see them truly in love and recognizing that their paths are not aligned, as Amis
Barry.
said. Sorry. I'll
Very
call her
nice.
Amis forever. But, you know, I think it is true. And or they're not aligned in that way. And I
Yeah.
think that Min says it in the books. He's not for you, at least not in that way. You're not for
Right.
each other, at least not in that way. And I think that there's, I just think it's better earned. I know people have had a really big problem with them still being together in this show. And I'm like,
Even Matt Hatch is coming around. He said that. He was like, I've been
Good.
very against it from the start, but now I can see where it's bearing fruit.
Yeah, it is.
and it
very
makes
true,
the
yeah.
ending
Mhm.
of the series just so much better.
Yeah.
It makes the ending of the series so much more meaningful and so much better if we actually saw them fully realize this relationship to the point where they realized they could not be together.
Yeah.
Um,
Love this from Laura. Characters that don't communicate how book accurate. I know,
Yep.
right? Very book accurate.
exactly.
So yeah, I did. Just I'm with you. I know we don't often agree over Gawain, Meg, but I'm with you. She wasn't in the wrong.
Yeah.
I do think she wasn't helping. The fault is with Rand.
Yeah, I don't think she was helping it by saying
when
I'm
they
going to be here
got
no matter
quote
what.
back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should have been like, this is what I was doing in the meantime. He doesn't have to give salacious details.
They were on a
But,
break.
But he should have been like, well, I did meet this woman and blah blah blah. Like,
And she
you don't
turned out
have-
to be a Forsaken.
Well, he doesn't
I
have
mean,
to share.
well,
He
he
doesn't
even
necessarily
s-
have to share that.
He
That
even
wouldn't have
s-
helped to
right.
realize who Lanfear was in the dream.
No,
I think she had to
no.
see Lanfear and then have
No,
the
but
wise
I feel
one say
like
that's
there's
a
an
Forsaken.
element to that you should tell your partner that I
Oh,
slept with the literal
yes.
devil.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
him telling Perrin and Matt in the bar
That's-
at the beginning is
But he
like,
didn't
He
say
was
Forsaken.
proud of himself.
oh yeah, that was locker room talk. I mean, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just like, them being like, I got some,
Mhm.
but then
Because
and
they were
also-
teasing him that he never ever ever gets anything anyway.
Right.
Which is a slight change from the books where it's like, oh, I wish Rand was here and Perrin were here because they could tell me how to do it. And
Right.
it's just like, yeah. So, but it's a big thing to be like, I accidentally fell in love with an evil magic end the world person.
Yeah,
That's a big thing to tell someone.
sure it is, but he's still sleeping with Elayne and like in love with her. So I think being like,
Yeah, he should have said that. Yeah, he's been emotionally.
well, he can't
cheating
say it
the whole
because
time.
he's still with her. That's
Yes.
that's why he can't
Wow,
say it
that's
because
why
he
he
is
can't
still
say
in
it,
love with
yeah.
her. He is still thinking
'Cause
about her. He's
he's
still
a
visiting with her in the
cheater.
dream. He's a cheater.
Cheater.
Yeah, in that type of dream, is cheating. Yeah.
He's cheating.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a regular, your own dream, yeah, that's your subconscious being a dickhead.
Yes.
But
But no, you're fully aware that this is real. It's cheater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cheater.
Did he?
Cheater.
I can't remember. But wait a minute. He and Lanfear had not come to him in the dream before last episode when he was on the rocks. She had been watching him. But my understanding.
No,
Oh no! They were in the
Yeah.
shack.
They were
They were
in
in
their
the
own
inn.
shack. Yeah, they were in their own.
Yeah.
They were in the
He's a cheater.
the love shack. Yeah, exactly.
Cheater.
So
Cheater.
But- yeah, okay, it's gonna be rough with them. I'm sure we can keep going on this episode, but fucking brilliant episode. Hats off to Rami, killing us
Yeah.
once again.
Yeah.
Emotionally, with fun, laughter, all of it. I can't wait for next week's episode.
I know. I know.
Next week's gonna be so much.
As much as I like, Zach was like, "There's only 2 left." I was like, "I know,
Yeah.
I know."
This is
He
true.
also is so into it. He was like, "It's not fair that your show's this good," and I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And he loves Three Body Problem, like the books and the show, and we
Mhm.
both really love the show. But he's like, "This is even better. This is better than Three Body Problem."
Wheel of Time. I did a reel today. What's the drug show where they he builds a meth lab and blah,
Breaking
blah,
Bad.
blah. Breaking Bad. There's obviously a scene in Breaking Bad where like a woman unveils like a pallet that is basically just a pallet of money. And I did a reel of that moment, and I was like, the budget that Amazon needs to give Wheel of Time season 4.
Is that much money?
That just all of those millions.
I
It
know.
needs just an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
it's such a good show, such a good show. So I'm excited. Not that I know if a season 4 has been renewed or not, to be very clear about that, but I'm excited for season 4 because I still think, even if it doesn't quite get the viewing numbers that they want, it's so critically acclaimed and so highly reviewed. I think they'd be stupid not to give it another season.
Yes.
You know, I know there's some juggling going on between Amazon and MGM and stuff like that, like Jennifer Salk left and things like that. You know, I know that there are, you know, what is it, like 3-year contracts or 3-season contracts and stuff that need to be renegotiated or whatever it is. Like, I know there's those things happening, but I don't see how you take a show that's gone like from great to amazing to fucking epic in its ratings and not be like, let's at least do one more.
Let's keep it going. Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean,
I
do
don't see
might
how
as well.
you don't do that.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
that is actually what Rafe is probably doing right now, is being like, these are the things that we're going to see in the upcoming seasons that would make it continue to be talked about, worth it, great to watch. But I'm not going to weigh in on it.
Television is fickle. This is true.
It is fickle is putting it nicely. It's not just fickle. It's just it's an unknown, and it's all an unknown right now. The industry's so messed up. It's, you know, just hard. It's always messed up. It's extra messed up.
I'm still you were dreaming before that you manifested that you get taken on for seasons 5, 6, 7, and 8. Because they're already doing season 4. We've decided we're manifesting that as well, even if it's not greenlit. We're still doing some soft writing for it or something. So now I am manifesting that they're like, do you know what? Maybe it didn't break records on viewing numbers or whatever the way we wanted it to, but it was so well received and did amazing viewing numbers anyway that we'll give it another season and we'll go from there. And then there's every possibility they go like, do you know what? You get that one more season, but here's the bar. And if you don't make that bar, we're not doing it anymore. You know, like you've got through because everybody's raving about how good it is, and it's going to make us look like absolute fools if we don't give you another season. But you need to get this. You can't have, A-star quality stuff that's not viewed is pointless.
Right.
You know?
I am in the TV Academy now, and I will make a strong effort because, sadly, awards do sometimes play into some of it, even though they shouldn't, because it's a popularity contest. But I will use my popularity to get as many people as possible to be working on the for-year consideration stuff for this show.
Nice.
And talking about it with people and being like, if you haven't seen it, see it. Performances are amazing. Special effects are amazing. Costumes are amazing. Blah, blah, blah. I'll keep working it.
I keep doing what I can. And if you want to know how you can do that, do things like constantly play it. Okay, viewing matters and completion matters. Okay, that makes a difference. Viewing numbers, they do help. Obviously, don't watch it illegally. Watch it on Prime because they care about that.
Yeah.
And if you know someone who's like, oh, maybe I'll watch it, be like, well, go get a Prime account and watch it first before anything else. That makes a difference. Okay. And weirdly enough, go to IMDb and look up Wheel of Time because Amazon own IMDb and they care about what IMDb says about it. So go on there and rate it 10s. And, and those are the things that will help the show. That, aside from getting an account if you don't already have one, cost you nothing, really. Like literally, I'm reading, the Hunger Games books, and what's playing on the TV, muted, Wheel of Time.
Yeah, I left it on. I think I told you guys the first, whatever night I didn't watch it at midnight. I turned it on at midnight because I was still awake and I was just devastated not to be able to watch it, but I just let it play and it played on repeat.
Oh, nice.
So
Mine,
through,
I've got like 4 different shows now that I have started because I left Wheel of Time running and it started watching another show afterwards and then my TV timed out. So I've got like 3 other shows that are like, oh, continue watching. I'm like, I'm not watching any of these shows. Like, why is it doing that? So, but yeah, those are the things that can help. But yeah, this is great. Next week we have Golden Eyes, The Battle of the Two Rivers.
Yeah.
Dave Hill wrote that. And who is our director for the final block?
Oh, it's first director again.
Yes.
Is it Kieran? No, it's
Kieran Donnelly. Yes.
Yeah, it is Kieran Donnelly again.
Yeah, back to Kieran Donnelly. And this was obviously Remy Park and
next one's Dave Hill and then Justine.
Yes, and Marta Cunningham was the director for this, new director for this season as well. So, epic job, folks. Thank you for hanging out. Meg, how many hills did you consume?
1.5.
1.5 hills. Well, go finish your hills. Enjoy your name day tomorrow.
Thank you.
Folks, if you did not wish Meg a happy name day on Sunday, please go wish her a happy name day. You can do that on social media, either to our main account, which is at threewheeling.malkytalks.com on Blue Sky, or you can hit up Meg's actual Blue Sky account itself as well, which is Meg.
Is it Megmas?
Probably
It's
Megmas.
Megmas.
Megmas on Blue Sky?
Blue Sky.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You can follow, if you want to see the Hills of Tanchico in action, you can follow us on Instagram, which is 3.wheeling. And
I do post those to Blue Sky as well. So
okay, brilliant. And please rate and review the podcast. And if you want to listen live, like Matt and Laura have done, and others have done in the past,
And Mama and Sharon and Sharon's.
Mom's here, and occasionally Perrin is here as well. And I think Nils has dropped in on the odd occasion. So you.
Oh, it's Nils' birthday! Happy birthday, Nils!
Oh, and
we
happy
already
birthday,
said
Nils,
that.
I know. Sorry, I forgot.
I was like, do that by you can do that by joining the Patreon. Link is in the description to the video, to the podcast, whatever you're listening on. So all those good things, folks, and that's it. So we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
The Hills. Once again, we've proven that even when you're the third wheel,
You can always find a place to fit in.
Join us next time
On Three Wheeling.
on Three Wheeling.
on Free Wheeling.